Appreciate that, Nick. Appreciate that, man. Wins Rogue Company. What's up, Omega? What's going on, Omega? What's going on, guys? For those who don't know, that's the topic of the evening. We're just chatting right now. I really don't have anything going on. I was casually looking through my Twitter, just seeing if there's anything that I want to talk about. Is today Friday? Yeah. How's y'all's Friday going? Is Rogue Company good, Omega? So is it team-based like an Overwatch? Like how does it play? Look, there's a KI tournament. Last call to sign up for Console Combat Online. I would be playing on PC if I could. 4v4. So I don't know much about it. It looks cool. Forgive me for sniffling. I've had headaches and head issues. By the way, congratulations, Nick, on hitting affiliate if you're still here, buddy. I'm actually going to be start doing some podcasts here in the very near future talking about fighting games. So you're always welcome, Nick. You're always welcome. Those will go up on YouTube as well. So if you guys happen to miss it, that's where I'm going to post those. Talking to who that? Yeah. So yeah. So I have podcasts set up with Vegeta, John, GamerX, Fumi, a couple others where we're going to get on and talk about the scene when we were playing and how we got into it. That's actually the topic. How did you get into video games for this? But I'm supposed to have Vegeta on here tonight, and we were supposed to talk about his experience in the fighting game community and how to get into games. And I know you speedrun games as well, or at least Mega Man Legends, right? So yeah, we getting into it. We're gonna get there. But yeah, again, man, congratulations. Hey, man, that means you only got to beat 11 of them, right? I loved Journey on Atari, man. I loved Journey. You know, so that's actually funny, Omega. When I played Atari, when I think about the games, there was Combat and Journey are the only ones that really stuck in my head. Yeah, see, Nick, that's awesome. Yo, I didn't know that either, Omega. Like, I didn't know that either when I was playing it. Combat was great, right? I have a feeling Combat would be really good nowadays. I feel like if Combat came out now, it would actually be a very competitive game. I feel like. It was Mario 3 and my older brother busted out a 2600 and I got really obsessed with Defender. Defender, yeah, that was a good game too. But see, Omega, I'm pretty sure if I remember, Combat had where you could have like, it was like 4-on-4, but you controlled all four, right? So it was really still 1-on-1, but it was four. I don't remember. Combat was very weird. Yeah, 2v2. Yeah, I enjoyed it though. Mario 3 is such a good game, guys. That was such a good game on Nintendo. Like, I feel like there was, I mean, obviously Nintendo has always had their first person titles be better than their third parties, but that really pushed Nintendo to its limits. Party games are big money, man. So what is it, Fall Guys? I was gonna play that tonight, but their servers are down. Apparently they were down last night too. Jordan versus Bird, yo. I miss Jordan. Actually, so Jordan versus Bird was okay, but Double Dribble. Double Dribble, which I have Double Dribble on cartridge here. I have two copies of that. Yeah, that really pushed the Nintendo to the absolute limits. Like that was really like Nintendo was really at its peak there. So let's go down here and let's get the chat box. I don't know what to do with the chat box here. Like, I don't want to make it too big, right? We make it too big, that's ridiculous. If I make it too small, can you... So I'm looking at it on a small monitor on the side. Can you guys even read that text? Is it even worth having the chat up here? At this point? A lot of Double Dribble also. I played a lot of Punch-Out. Yeah, that is too small. That's what I figured. When I'm gaming, so like if I take this off, when I'm gaming, see the border... You don't see it with the game, but I'm showing you guys what I'm looking at right now because we're just chatting. We're not playing anything. So the chat's there, but now it's like kind of like digging up into it. Whatever. We're professionals here, right? Right? Blades of Steel. See, that's what I'm talking about, guys. That's what I mean. Having a podcast where we just talk games, I feel like for me, so I want to do an entire story. I've got a timeline built up, right? Of when I started playing fighting games and the territories era from where I come from different malls and different areas having a core group of people where we traveled because there was no internet back then. And I really want to talk about that. I feel like that is something that people just will never experience again because of online play. I think it was great, but I want to have other people on and get the reputation of the podcast going a little bit more before I try to just tell my side of the story. Mega Man is great. So real quick, Nick, actually, let me ask you, have you played the Mega Man clone that was on Epic Games? It's co-op, but it looks exactly like Mega Man X. Yeah, in dance games, a lot of people don't realize the competition that was there, or still is. It was free on Epic Games last week, so I downloaded it. It's co-op. It's co-op. So I was actually going to play it on stream. Yeah, 20XX. That's what it's called. It looks really good, actually. Oh, you just Googled it? Yeah. Doesn't look too bad. Little Flash Mega Man clone. Yeah, I agree. And so that's one of the things that like it's pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. So yeah. Today's her birthday. Happy birthday, whoever that is. Yeah, there's not much. So Doc is back. Chat. Dr. Disrespect is back. I just gotta say, like, do we really believe he doesn't know why he's been banned? I don't buy it. I think he knows. I think he knows, and he's just trying to stream without it getting out there, I guess. So like I've said before, disrespect. The time. Back to back. Yeah, I think that's what, so like if Twitch ever came out and said it, I think all of his support would immediately drop. And I think he feel like as long as he can get away with not having to explain it, hey, he's good. You know, you get 400,000 people watching you, 500,000 people watching you. That's just ridiculous, right? Yep, I agree. Entertainment-wise, he's the top of the market. Entertainment wise, top of the market. Personally, he's probably not that good of a person. I don't know him. Just saying. Hey, look, it shows that I'm live. Why does it show that I'm live? Oh, because I posted it. But I don't follow myself. His streams, you see how I have the transitions here, you know, ooh, special, right? Yeah, no, his stuff is ridiculous. The show that he puts on. He really does put on a show. He's on another level. I do need a Cyber Dojo. I do. I've looked on Fiverr. There's quite a few people that would be interested. Hey, Nick, check out my so this is my tier 3 emote. Look, 25 cent, right? Only the arcade heads know what that is. Only the arcade heads know. But and the Ninja Star, that's the tier 1. That's right. A couple people have picked it up. So a couple people know what it's from. But realistically, I mean, unless I'm playing a fighting game or something that is from that era, a lot of people wouldn't know. They wouldn't have a clue. There's a keychain that you can get that has the coin slot on it. Looks pretty cool. It is. Tier 1, tier 2, 3, out of your mind. That's right. Tier 3, out of your mind. I got these are the 3 I got. I got these 3. I have room for 2 more. But I need to get an artist that can make emotes. I'm not very good at it. But we're growing. We're trying. We're getting there. That's why I want to go the podcast route. Because when you export stuff, now that you're an affiliate, you can do this too. You can export your stuff directly from Twitch to your YouTube account. As soon as you finish this, you can upload it. However, unless you're a partner, it doesn't upload at 1080 or 920 or whatever. It actually uploads in like 480. So if you go to my YouTube channel and you like look at my clips, they're all grainy and it looks like crap. And that's because it doesn't allow you to export at a decent resolution. Now I can record my stuff and export it, but my computer, if I try to record gaming and play at the same time, I drop frames. So I'm hoping when I do the podcast with everybody that it doesn't drop frames. What? Who's where? I mean, you got to be more specific. There's a whole bunch of pictures on my monitor. You talking about Caitlin Denver? I have no idea who that is. I mean, I'm guessing it's an actress. Talking about her performance. I don't know her, though. A lot of people saying she would make a good Ellie for Last of Us live action. I don't know who she is. Yeah, luckily my PC is only about 2 years old, and I built a monster, so I probably still have a year or two before Yep. So the PC I got is just enough to get me up and running, and then hopefully around Christmas time I can upgrade my parts, or at least around tax time, and do a little bit more. I have other PCs around here that I could probably use as a like a streamer, like just broadcast stuff for that and capture, but I haven't messed with it yet. I really haven't messed with my setup much since I started. I really don't like the chat right here though, but I don't have anywhere else to put them. Like I said, for gaming purposes, when I have the gaming up there, it looks fine, but I don't want to put this smaller, right? Because then it won't look right. No, we'll just deal with it. So what are you playing right now, Nick? Are you playing anything like fighting game wise? I saw you were streaming Street Fighter V earlier. I was watching a little bit of it. And are you liking Street Fighter V? What time you want them going to bed? I don't know. We'll see how the stream goes. So SF5 is my main now because the audience is so big. It has its moments. I feel like the game is just fundamentally flawed. It's just not fun to play. That's just me. I like Cody. Cody's who I use in that. But yeah, it's just not fun to play, man. Like, once you learn the meta of the game, it like doesn't evolve. It's just bleh. Oh, G is so awesome though. G is awesome. G is legit. If Cody wasn't in the game, that's who I'd be using. Notice how I have the shameless plug right here of my own stream. That's so stupid. We're just looking through my timeline, guys. We're just looking for stuff to talk about. Yeah, that's why. So G is a perfect example of Street Fighter V. Once he gets V-Trigger, doesn't matter how much health he has, the game can be over. And that's the perfect example of Street Fighter V. It's V-Trigger. And then the game's over. Hey, Neo, how's it going, buddy? So, and who watches Umbrella Academy? Does anybody watch Umbrella Academy? Well, like, so one of the things that I've been watching, Nick, from Street Fighter V that I've noticed is that you can beat someone down until, like, the very end of their life, right? Then they have V-Trigger. And you outguessed them all the way to that point. And then they hit you, activate V-Trigger, dizzy you, and then the round is over with 2 wrong guesses. It's just ridiculous.
Have you been watching Umbrella Academy?
No, just up here it's showing a picture of the new season. I'm just looking for stuff to talk about on my Twitter timeline. I just asked them if they watch it. If you're not in the chat, you go mind your own business. You go lay down and think about what you just did. You should just go lay down. Chat. Sometimes you just gotta... Comeback mechanic. Yeah, I've never been... So that's why Marvel 2 is so good to me. In Marvel 2, if you get beat down, you get beat down. It's clear. Like... Yeah, that's what... Exactly. MVC 2, you get bopped, you get bopped. Street Fighter 2 was that way too, though. Like, you know, the Alpha series. You get bopped, you get bopped. Any of those old games that don't have comeback mechanics, I understand why they're in the game. They build hype. They make it so someone who's not necessarily as good or someone who maybe had a bad read early in the match can then come back. The problem with comeback mechanics is that when you put them in the hands of somebody who knows what they're doing, they become instantly more deadly if you didn't kill them before they got to use it. Street Fighter is hard to be good at. Marvin Vegeta says he's good. So we might be doing a podcast, chat. We might be popping off here in just a second. If he gets on, we're gonna invite him and do some chatting. But yeah, what I was going to say about Umbrella Academy, right? So if you look at this picture, there's no way that dude is that big, right? That's fake. His forearms really aren't Popeye, right? That's got to be fake. I mean, some... or it could be fake androids. Could be fake roids. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so... Yeah, they are people with superpowers, Neo. So back when I played Street Fighter, Nick, let me flex my old age, break my bones. I have a lot of screenshots from tournaments because there's no data back then or whatever. I used to place very high against the top players. I did not necessarily beat the top players. I want to make that very clear. I would get top 5 at major events. See, I got stories about Coliseum Mall. See, that's why I want to talk about the territories area for me. So for me, each area had their group of players, and Coliseum Mall actually had a decent... It was 3 guys from there. The 3 guys that were there were actually decent players, and they're the ones that me and the Fun and Games crew, when we weren't going to putt-putt, if we went out of town to play, we would actually get with the Coliseum crew. The places that thought they had good players but didn't were Greenbrier Mall. Sorry for anybody that's watching from Greenbrier Mall. If you are, you're just gonna have to hold that L. Patrick Henry Mall. They had one good player. One good player. Chris Spra for Tekken. That's it. And Funscape and Greenbrier are roughly the same thing. And Tower Mall had champions. But in our area, we had a big area that we traveled around. Why am I getting a phone call? Like, Neo was just in the chat, and I'm getting a phone call from his dad. Yes, sir. I'm the podcast getting ready to start up with Vegeta. So we're going to talk about arcade days, man. If you want to get on a list. But afterwards we could. It's only going to be about 30, 45 minutes. So it's up to you if you want to get on and listen. All right. Later. That's Archon. He wants me to play Gunfire Reborn. If you guys know anything about that game, that's what he wants me to play. He wants me to play Gunfire Reborn. Let's see. So, okay, going to call. So this is going to be the first episode, guys. Don't know how it's going to go. Guarantee you there's going to be hiccups. Guarantee you Discord's going to mess up, but we're going to try to have fun either way. Gunfire Reborn is a dungeon crawler with first-person shooter. Yeah. So we're going to have Marvin come on. We're going to do some chatting. It's going to be about 45 minutes to an hour, at least for the stuff that I have laid out. If there's something that he wants to delve in on, then we'll go in on it. But I've known Marvin now for over almost 20 years. And we're going to get into some stuff. We're going to talk about some stuff. Mainly it's going to be about how he got into fighting games, because I know, and how he got into games in general. I know, obviously after we started playing together, I know the stuff from then on. I don't know the stuff prior. So there's some stuff that we can actually talk about on here. So let's see if he is on. If he is on, I will give him a call. Okay, he said he's on. And I don't see him. Hang on, let's go home. Online, it just says 9 people are on. There he is. Let's give him a call. Is it not calling? We're going to pause this chat. Ring, ring, Neo. You there, buddy? Like, I don't hear it ringing. Let's send him a text message. Trying to call. But yeah, Nick, so that's one of the things that I want to do. I want to get people on here, and I want to talk about what got them into fighting games, and little stories that they had while they were traveling. Like, I have one where I left a dude in New Jersey. It's a story, right? Absolutely, man. I mean, if do you use Discord? Do you have Discord? I imagine you do. Like every gamer does, right? Yeah, that's what I mean, man. Like, I had him up there, and well, I didn't bring him up there, but he got left up there. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. And like I said, I'm going to try and record this so I can put it up on YouTube as well. Hey, Vegeta, I'm trying to call you on Discord, man. It's not working. Why is it not working? Look. Call. It's not even ringing. You're here, but you don't see anything? Look. I'm going to go right over here. Look what it says right here. There's Vegeta up here in the top left. And it says, started the call. Is that because I'm on streamer mode? Can you answer the call? Does that not work? Try to call me. Yeah, go ahead and click my name. Try and call me. Because it still doesn't show that you're online for me at all. Are you not part of my Discord? Are you serious? How are you not part of my Discord? Like, it's so weird. That can't be why it is, though. Is that really what it is? All right, let's try this again, chat. Hey, there he is.
I guess it was part of some old server.
Oh, crap, I just messed up my border. Hang on. Oh, I just messed that all up. Hang on. I think it was like right there. Oh, well, we'll fix that later. Because we over here now. So we do like this and go like this. Can I not full screen this? Clearly, I don't.
I was hearing.
What's that?
Okay.
Oh, you're like real like you're like popping in and out.
Oh, am I? Great.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like you or me. Isn't there a way to like full screen this?
I mean, I can hear you fine.
It's weird that I can't. I thought I could like full screen this. So it just shows your voice. Just shows your voice. That doesn't make sense. Is there a way to like full screen this chat where it just shows his icon and not like all this other stuff?
Well, I'm not sure how much difference it'll make if I'm like cutting in and out.
Yeah, I mean you are. I don't know. Just I guess just try and talk louder.
Oh, did I not cut out that time?
No, you're fine right now.
Okay.
We'll keep it moving. I thought there was a way to where you can make this like. Is there not a way? No, I don't want to share my screen. I mean, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. I can actually just then in that case I can actually make this display fit the spot here. So what you been doing, man? How's your Friday going? I know you finally got power back.
I don't know. It's all right, I guess. I haven't really done much today except for like watch stuff on YouTube, played a little bit of MK, talked to my dad for like an hour.
Some MK action, huh?
Yeah. Problem is that I think it's. I thought I was the only one because I've taken. I noticed there's bursts of like a week or two where I won't play it.
Mhm.
But apparently, all the top players now and casuals are just saying that the game is just boring, like, and it's just stale. And there's some mechanics I just really don't like breakaway. And that's funny because I kind of don't like it either. And then the wake up system, they just need a big overhaul because it's like it's the age old argument where they have something in a game where why am I getting punished for making the right choice? Like, you screwed up, I launch you, but you get to fall out of the combo and punish me for trying to punish you, and I die.
Right.
So yeah, that's the whole big like Tweety said it. Essentially all the top players that the dudes winning Sonic Fox hasn't played it in a while. That's crazy to me. The dude's been all over Tekken and other stuff. I'm like Ninja Killa, all of them. They're just saying the same crap. They're like, we don't like these. We don't like Breakaway. The wake up system's kind of boring, bum, and then the game itself is kind of stale at the moment.
Yeah, isn't there like
Without-
mechanics where some people like get like huge advantages off Breakaway or something like
Yeah.
that?
Because it depends on where you break away in somebody's combo. Either I'm going to purposely do a combo to drop it on purpose to try to bait you because I think you're going to break away, or I'm going to try to do a short combo because I think you're going to do it, but then you don't, so I just wasted damage. But then if I keep going, you break away in the middle of my string and punish me while I'm recovering. It's a mess. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely amazing.
It's annoying because like I'll be like, you get the winning combo or something, right? And they're just like, oh, fall out of it. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, and see, I wanted to play Night Wolf, and then I wanted to play RoboCop, and then I want to play that game, but it's like so bad.
Well, because the mechanics by some of these characters are used. Like, for instance, if I use Cassie Cage with her her Yes Queen variant, most of her combos are grounded, so it nullifies the breakaway part. But other characters like Scorpion, he has to launch you to do a combo basically that's worth it. So
Right.
As soon as I launch him, I use the meter for an EX teleport to launch somebody. I burn a meter, breakaway. Oh, great! So I just wasted meter for like 18 damage. Like that kind of stuff. It's annoying. Like a bit. Same thing with Frost. Like she was a kind of a lower damage character anyway, but all my combos with her, every last one to even get decent damage, you have to launch. It's stuff like that, man. That I think is that people want to have the traditional breaker back, where they just break it and it resets everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Brings you back to the meta. Yeah.
And the person that used it, their resources are temporarily gone. Like, okay, that's fair. You got to have an ass whooping, but you paid for it.
So why did they change that, I wonder? Was there a reason why they just wanted to be different for each this game?
Just something different. Because, the breakers were kind of busted before in MKX because what would happen is you break somebody, right? And they would still have their stamina. So as soon as you break, they just run right back up on you, and then now you have no way to get out. So what they did is they made it cost stamina. So when it breaks, you can't run in. Like you actually have a legit chance to fight. And I'm like, okay, that was good. In this game, they just added this mechanic as opposed to that. Instead of having a breaker, it's breakaway now, and we're just like, yeah, it's kind of not. Some characters really take advantage of it, and some just don't. Like the new stuff, the armor breaks they added in now.
Right.
Like you have armor, like they have breakaway. Like if you try to use breakaway and they're using an armor breaking attack, it'll relaunch you essentially. But some of these are just like Frost. Her armor breaker is her down back 3, where she shoots her head into the sky.
Right.
That's literally only good for an anti-air.
Right.
If I'm doing it in a combo, I'm literally doing like, if you don't break, I'm doing like about 15 damage or something. It's not worth it unless I'm in the corner. Like in the corner, it's pretty good because it's part of her bread and butter.
Right.
That's it. Scorpions is his back 3. It's that overhead heel kick. It's not even launcher.
Wow.
Only launch. I'm thinking, if you're in the air, why do I ever want to use back 3? Like it doesn't. It's kind of like they just kind of they do stuff like that sometimes where they add or change something, and I'm like, just why though? Like, I think they just need to overhaul the system. I think they need to take breakaway out and just put in breakers again, which is doable even in this new game. You can do that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But that would, and then the wake ups are so like, because they can roll through you. The forward roll is a threat. Because it's invincible, they roll through you. I'm still attacking the wrong way, and you can beat me down. Or at most, if I'm anticipating it, I can low jab you or something. But I want to kill you. Like I don't want to dick jab you. Like
right.
So that's the whole. That's the two biggest mechanics that people don't like because they're like it's kind of. It makes you not want to do things near the end of a match. It makes it more stressful than it should be because I'm like, am I going to get punished for making the correct decision here? Like, which I think is kind of messed up. I don't like mechanics like that either.
Right. Well, yeah, that's MK11. I'm going to fill up my cup and then we can get started. So I'll be right back.
All right. Well, while he fills up, I'm gonna grab me my freaking bag of kettle cooked salt and vinegar chips and my water.
Fun over there, Raiden.
Yeah.
Still making a family, huh? All right, so let me get my little paper out. I'm gonna try and record this so I can put this up on YouTube. So I don't know if it's gonna work or not. Chat, if you can, let me know if you see frames dropping while we're chatting, and I will end the recording and we'll just leave it up here on Twitch, and I'll try to upload it on YouTube. The quality doesn't really matter on YouTube visually; it's more about the audio. So, but yeah, we'll get started. Yeah, let me go ahead and hit that record button. All right, guys, we're going to try something different here. We're actually doing a podcast here live on twitch.tv/cyberninja with an S. And we have a special guest with us, Marvin Vegeta Ross. Marvin, what's going on, man?
Well,
So what's going on, man?
too much, the usual.
The usual. All right, so we're going to talk about a couple things. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. If you want to see us do this live, if you're watching this on YouTube, we already said where you need to go. And if you're watching me on YouTube, tell me how you found me in the comments down below. All right, so let's get started. I've known you now since what, like 2002, 3?
That's a good question. I want to say, I think probably 2003, around then. Pretty sure it was 03 because I was a senior.
Yeah, so I know a lot of things about you, but a lot of things I don't. One of the things that I wanted to talk about on here is how did you get into games, and then more importantly, fighting games in general?
Well, I mean, I guess technically I got into games when I was 6. Because we're on my birthday, we actually flew from Germany to the US. Because my dad was in the army, and I was born over there and lived over there, obviously. So for my birthday, I got the OG Game Boy, the gray one that came with.
Ooh.
It was like Tetris and Alleyway,
The one that if you're not playing in broad daylight, you can't play?
basically. And it has the green monochrome screen, all that stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I mean I'm pretty sure that's where it started because I played that thing to death like that, and then I think for Christmas, either Christmas or a little bit after, I got a Nintendo, and the rest is history. Just been playing stuff since then.
I got you.
Fighting games are concerned, when I was in, I want to say it was first grade. I don't know. I can't remember how exactly. I think it was through a strategy guide and commercials, but I kind of got into Mortal Kombat, the first one. It just looked really cool to me. Like, like all the cool colors and all this stuff. I'm like, oh my god, it's so violent. It was like super taboo back then.
It was. It really was. It's so tame now, but back then,
yeah,
boy.
like, oh my god, they're ripping out hearts and heads. I'm like, yeah, now they're like eating spines and stuff.
Oh god.
Just exaggerate, but like, but I guess that's how I got into it because as you can say, casually played MK since I was a kid. Like I loved it. I played on my friend was down the street and he had it on Super NES and we played that. And then at the same time, I wasn't aware when MK2 came out. I just knew it existed because we used to go to the commissary.
Mm-hmm.
While my mom would shop, in the front of the store, they had like a small little room off to the side that had 3 arcade games, and one of them was MK2. And I was just either watched the attract mode or played.
Yeah.
There's some guy that worked there, and he always saw me in there, so he kind of gave me some free credits here and there, and I'd always get wrecked by like the second or third character.
That's how that's how MK was though. Like that arcade. I mean, the computer didn't play in that game.
Until I got older, when I figured out, this AI is real cheap. Like this.
Yeah, it's designed to make you spend money. You have to trick it to win.
Yeah, that's I guess that'd be my gaming origins.
So yeah, so Mortal Kombat was your first taste at fighting
Yeah,
games,
what
huh?
an actual fighting game was.
So
Yeah.
like for me, it's funny because when Mortal Kombat first came out for me, right, as a kid, I was huge into Street Fighter. Obviously, like that was my game. And when Mortal Kombat came out, it had taken over the throne at my arcade at Fun and Games, where but for those listening at home, they had it set up to where the arcade is a big hallway. And so in the middle of the hallway would be whatever game was trending or, the game that they were trying to push. Street Fighter was always behind whatever the attraction game is, whether it be a racing game or later dancing game, so on and so forth. So when you walk by the arcade, you would see this big game. And then when you walk in, the game behind that would be the most popular game. And Mortal Kombat took the throne of Street Fighter at Fun and Games when it came out, and I hated it because it had a block button. And my hand, when I was younger, because when you play Street Fighter, I mean, I have joystick here, so I can show you guys if I could get it up here, right? So with the joystick, right, and you have your buttons, your hand is, you want to keep your fingers on the buttons that you want to press. But I couldn't keep my hand wouldn't spread out and do the high punch and high kick and still be able to press the block. My hand was just too small. So you had to like move your fingers. And I couldn't play Mortal Kombat for a long time for that reason. It was very sad. So I actually got good at Mortal Kombat on console, Super Nintendo. And then when Mortal Kombat 2 came out, I was a god. So we'll just move on from there. So we got the first arcade experience that you remember. So what do you remember about arcades, and what is the first experience that you remember from it? What's going on, gamer?
I don't think I actually remember my first arcade experience. I guess I kind of knew what they were, but if I had to pick one, I vividly remember when I was really young. I was I want to say I was in 5th grade, and it actually was in Fun and Games. Because I remember MK3 came out before that, and I'd always rent it like from Blockbuster on Genesis, and then I wasn't aware of what UMK3 was.
Right.
So I went past F&G one day, and I was like, I saw a bunch of people crowded around at what I saw as Mortal Kombat 3, and I was like, oh, cool. So I asked my aunt was with us.
Then you saw that scorpion.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, because I love the ninjas, and it was the only thing that bothered me about MK3 is like when I was looking through magazines as a kid, I was like, dude, where the ninjas at and stuff, and I liked Robot Smoke and Sub-Zero because they just kind of were the closest I had. But I walked in there, and I was like, there's a dude using Scorpion, and there's a dude using Ermac, and at the time for me, I had a old strategy guide that in the back had a rumor section for MK2, and they had a picture of basically a red character throwing a spear, and they're like, oh, it's a secret character. So I was thinking, oh my god, they actually put this dude in the game, or he's real, or something like that. And I was watching them. I'm like, dude, all the ninjas are back. The female ninjas. I'm like, this is crazy. A couple weeks later, I figured out it was an expansion because it was in what was that magazine called? It was Video Games or Game Pro. It was one of the two. And
there was back in the day. There was Electronic Gaming Monthly, Game Pro. PC Magazine, and then obviously like the Nintendo game magazine. I can't remember what that was called. Imagine that.
Yeah, but I remember that because I was so excited. I was like, dude, I get to use Scorpion. And I remember I was in there and I was getting, of course, when the little kid steps up the machines, like getting beat up and stuff.
Yeah, you got lessons to learn.
There was a guy, and I can't remember what he was teaching me how to do. I think I picked Reptile once just because I was like, I want to pick all the ninjas just that you get out of your system. And he was teaching me how to do like basic force ball combos. I didn't know he had two versions of it and everything. And I was like, oh, that was kind of fun. Like I remember that. I was like, it was super fun. And then I was just like, every chance I got, I would go in there and like play.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 3 was such a weird time because like I've been trying. I got this notebook here, and the reason why I have this notebook is because when I'm at work, I'm trying to write down things to do for a podcaster to be able to chat with, and trying to pin down the Mortal Kombat 3 era for me was actually really weird. Even though I was like really good at that game, I don't remember it being a standalone era. Like, I'm pretty sure Killer Instinct was out around the same time, and I bounced between the two. But Mortal Kombat 3 for me was a special game. As much as I like 2 better, 2's my favorite Mortal Kombat. I feel like I don't know, I just got UMK3. So, weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, so next up on the list would be, how did you get into tournaments? What made you decide to do fighting game tournaments?
You did actually. Or
All right.
like, okay, so it kind of started because, like I said, I used to just, whether it be on console arcade, I used to just play like MK and stuff. But occasionally people would get me to play other games, or I had like Super Street Fighter 2 on like Genesis. I got it for my birthday at one point, so I knew what Street Fighter was. We used to play it in the laundromat when my mom was washing clothes when we first moved to VA. We're kind of living out of hotels while we're trying to look for a permanent place.
Right.
They had Street Fighter 2 in there, so I knew what that was. But I used to come to F&G. I think it was every Saturday or Sunday with my friend Mike and Steven. And we would come in there all the time and just kind of play and do our thing. But other people used to play Soul Calibur at the time, and I'm just like, I don't really care about that. I like MK. But I used to beat them down all the time. But I still remember the first time I met you. What was that kid's name that played Cabal? Was it Darman or something?
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm not even going there. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, me and him used to play, and like he was the first one in years, aside, because my brother played with me for a while too. But like,
right,
that actually to me equaled like how I fought.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, I just the people didn't play, or they're super casual, and I'm like, okay, I usually win, or it was kind of boring to me. I just like, okay. But I'm like, oh, sweet. Like, this guy's actually fighting me, and I thought we were pretty even. And I still remember that one day where this random dude was behind us watching us play, and I happened to lose the one match I was playing. I was like, all right, well, I'll wait for this dude to, get off, and I'll go back and play again. This guy picks Nightwolf and proceeds to beat the crap out of this guy. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, and then he's like, let me play one more time. I'm like, yeah, sure. Because I think he wasn't using his main at the time. Because then he picked Cabal and he got destroyed. And I'm thinking in my head, okay, I don't know who this guy is, but I can't play around. Like, I can't even, no secondary characters. I'm just going to use Scorpion. Because at the time, that's who I played.
Right.
And then, like, it was you, but I couldn't, I barely managed to take half a life bar. Like, out of, like, a lucky spear or two. And I'm like, this is insanity. Like, I have never seen anybody play like this before. Like, ever. Like, in my entire life of playing MK. I'm like, this is out of this world. So you went about your business and left. I'm like, okay, that was wild. So every so often you would come back there and play us. Like when we come in there on weekends, I'm like, oh crap, like here comes this dude. And I didn't know your name at the time, so that's why your nickname to me was Nightwolf, because that's
right.
That's what kind of picks Nightwolf. That's your name. And then Mike and Romeo would always get tired of me beating him, so like, oh, I had to go get Nightwolf to take you off the stick. Like, that's messed up, man.
That's true. That's true. I would be playing something else, or I'd be up there because I actually worked at the arcade at the time, and they would come up there and be like, "Hey, man, you need to get him off the machine." I'm like, "Okay."
But the whole time I wasn't actually realizing that, like, you would kind of drop like a nugget of advice here and there, or tell me something, and I'm like, oh, okay. Little thing would sink in. So then I didn't realize that over time those little tidbits would add up, and I was just getting better, but I didn't notice. Like, it was just like, oh man, I can't beat this guy. He's like ridiculous. So, then like I used to see a lot of people crowd on Soul Calibur, and you would always just play MK with me because I didn't play it at the time. But like, so when that evolved, I remember when Soul Calibur 2 came out on console, and my brother wanted me to get him the Xbox version. And I was like, oh, it's cool, they got guest characters. Like, that was a new thing to me. And all I had at the time was a GameCube.
Right.
Like, I'll get the GameCube version. And I even said, occasionally when I'm playing MK, I'd look next to, where they're playing Soul Calibur. I was like, if I played this game, I'd play that character. And that's referring to Talum, who is actually my main in that game. And that's what I did. So at that point, like, when I got to know you, Neo, and stuff, you guys were telling me about tournaments and how that kind of stuff worked. And I think I went to a local Richmond tournament. I think it was the first one I went to, to see what a tournament actually was. And that's how that started. Like, you guys got me into the scene, and then just the more I learned and figured out, that's just expanded from there, and then here we are today. I've been like all over the U.S. fighting in majors and stuff.
It's crazy how something like, starts off so small and then can change literally, the course of your life. Like, in terms of, you went from playing something casually to, competitively. I mean, that's a big change. If you hadn't have said play me in Mortal Kombat, where you would have gone from there. It's just weird how chance works out that way.
It's actually, well, it's also a good outlet because back then I had a lot going on in life at the time, so that kind of helped me, I guess, channel love out of that or put it to use. And then
Right.
It was really strange because you told me this one time a couple of years after we met, and I think we were playing, was it UMK3 on Xbox, and when it came out for arcade. And I remember what you told me, and I didn't think about it. In hindsight, I got mad in Tekken, I got mad in Soul Calibur, I got mad in that. But I never ever got pissed off in UMK3, no matter how bad I got beaten.
That's true.
I don't know why. It never happened. Like,
no, when we played UMK3, you and anybody else who was up there playing, because at the time it was a very small group because the game was 20 years old at that point. But yeah, no, it was just good times. I mean, even on Xbox, when that one dude hit you with the multiple morph combo with Shang Tsung.
Yeah, you pissed him off, so I took the beating for it.
Yeah. I beat the guy and he comes back to play, so then Vegeta goes to play him and he just hits him with the... I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff in Mortal Kombat, right? I've seen a lot. Yeah, I would have been very upset had I got hit by that combo. I'm just saying. I probably would have done a rage quit, but... So why do you still play? What makes you still want to play? What makes you still want to play and compete?
Oh man, it's just I had some goals I set out for myself at one point. Plus I just enjoy it, man. It's like the thrill of fights, like the atmosphere, everything like that. The kind of feeling it gives me. Plus I'm just a fighter by nature, so it's like I it's almost like Rocky said in one of his movies. He's like, I got to be around it. Like, now that I'm in here, like in it, I just can't not be. I have to be around it, man. Like, it's what I do. Like, it's the one thing that I know that I can do, and that I've broken so many expectations, and like people, thinking, oh, you only get this far, so and so, and I'm like, it's something that I've invested a lot of time in, and so far I've excelled at, even though there's roadblocks along the way. Hasn't been easy, but I just love it, man. I just like what it is, everything that it means.
Yeah, and it's hard to explain. I still feel the same way. I still feel the same way about fighting games now that I did when I actually did compete long before. I mean, you got to think, when I was competing in Tekken 5, I was already done. You know what I mean? Like, my Marvel days were already past me, and to be able to pass the torch to the F&G crew, and you guys continued to fan the flame for as long as you have. I wish I could still be at those tournaments and trying to make a stake for that area, but I just don't. I don't know. It's a different atmosphere for me. Like, when I sit down on a console next to an opponent, I don't have the same feeling as I do when I stand next to them in an arcade, and I can't explain the difference, but there is a massive difference for me. When I stand next to somebody at an arcade, it's like my zen, my home. Like, I don't know, I'm just comfortable, right? But when I sit down on a console, it just doesn't feel the same for me. Like, I don't have the same feeling. When I beat someone on console, or whether I lose, I don't have the same feeling of triumph or sorrow for winning or losing. And I'm guessing it has to come from a different mindset. I mean, I come from an era where there was no internet, where we literally traveled and tried to hold down territories. Whereas now, like when you were saying, when we would play Mortal Kombat 3, right? You would be like little nuggets of information over the course of time. And now people get so much information packed down so quickly because you don't have to pay. You don't even have to leave your house. You can just play for hours in training mode. And it's just a different feel for me. So,
yeah.
I mean, I
think that came in at a weird era, though. Like, I came.
I do think you did.
between and transition. So
I
for
think
me,
you and
sometimes
Neo both did. Neo, John, I think you both came in like right at not at the end of fighting games because they're obviously thriving, but at the end of my era and starting a new era with you guys. It was just, it was a very complicated time, I guess.
yeah, it's like strange because I think sometimes it's a little hard for me because I have the kind of old school mentality because I did, granted it was casually, but I did experience stuff like, you know, going to Funscape and the FNG and that kind I
Right.
experienced the arcade era. I know what it is. I mean, the sights, the smells, the sound, everything.
Well, the smells we
And
don't miss so
then,
much, but
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking about like just
no,
in
I know,
general
I
when you
know,
walk
I
in the
know,
arcade.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, the arcade smell, like, but like the fact that officially, I guess I'd say that you were my first like teacher slash coach. So I took on a lot of the values and things that, you know, the knowledge and stuff you passed on to me from how it worked on your day. And then I was dealing with how the new stuff was coming in. And now I'm like this weird mishmash of both.
Yeah.
So I kind of sometimes feel like the odd man out regardless, but it's like I've adapted to it. I think maybe it was a good thing maybe that me and Neo came in at that time because we kind of understand how either side works, like either world, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that because it's weird. Like I go through my Twitter timeline, right? So you know, a lot of the followers here in the Cyberverse know because I'm mostly known for playing Fortnite on here. Is that at the competitive level of Fortnite, like 99.9% of those players are just absolutely toxic to watch. They have no interest in bringing their community up. They have no interest in being cordial with each other. They're just absolutely toxic. And I think it was Ninja or I don't even know who it was, someone else on my timeline where they were like, if you know, you've been toxic to somebody before. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, if it wasn't warranted, no. No, like anytime I beat somebody in a tournament, it was always GG's. And if I could, I would take them to the side and explain to them how I beat them. And these are facts. This is literal stuff that I would do because it doesn't make me better. And that's all I cared about was getting better. It didn't make me better to just beat somebody doing the same stuff over and over if they didn't understand what was happening. If you understood and still got hit by it, well, that's on you. But if you don't understand, I felt it was my job to help you understand. And then next time I play you, it would force me to be better. And you just don't see that in any of the group now. Now it's just you got rinsed. You know what I mean? Have a nice day. It's like, dang,
Yeah.
all right.
That was also one of my original kind of personal goals in a way because I remember I told you guys about this the first because largely because of a particular individual that used to live in the area, but I decided I was like, look, part of the reason I'm going to do this is because I want to prove that you can be like a really strong or top player, but you don't have to be an a-hole to do it. Like I feel like that's like big misconception, like, oh, I have to be, you know, if you're at the top you got to be a complete douche. Like, no, that's not how this works. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. That's just a choice.
Yeah, Nick says in the chat he thinks it could come from how big esports and money, how it is for the top guys, and it's like they don't want to help you take my spot. And there probably is some truth to that, where you know they're making money, they don't want somebody else to make money. But a lot of it's crazy too because a lot of the top players don't make money from the competitions; they make money from their sponsors. You know what I mean? They make money from their YouTube videos. So I don't think it hurts to be cordial with people, like when they're doing like what they call wagers, which for us is literally just you're playing against each other, but after it's over they just say the most vile stuff to each other and then they're like, no, we're cool. It's like, dude, we would not be cool if you said those things to me. Exactly. In the arcade era you wouldn't say that to somebody's face. I've literally seen people get their face put through a monitor. Like that's you don't say that stuff. Not that stuff's better, but it's like, you know, sticks and stones.
Consequences for being a fool. Like, you know, there was none of this like keyboard warrior stuff. Nah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff they say online to each other, I'm like, man, there was a couple people in our area that did run their mouth a lot, and they were promptly shut down. And it wasn't in a way of like, you know, you had your warnings. You know, be respectful. If you weren't, you were not welcome at that place anymore, and you knew it, whether it be from being told or otherwise. In Japan
Man,
and
I'm
Korea, they'll actually help each other learn so they get better. Yeah, no,
yeah, I
they
was just
do. They do.
that's why they're so much better than we are. Like overall,
That's
I mean, look at the
facts.
difference. They have rivalries and stuff with it too, and then like when two big names are at odds with each other, it's like a big deal. But you notice they may be at odds with each other, but when it comes to the game itself, they never really do anything super toxic. They just kind of don't talk. But they help each other out. They're concerned about getting better. They teach each other. Oh, look at this trick. Oh, here's how you get out of this. Here, it's all about, oh, I'm gonna keep this gimmick up my sleeve because I might need to help me to win something, like because they don't have faith in their whole. It's just everything here is so secretive and like gimmicky.
Yeah, and so
This is my view on it.
it is. And like when back when Alpha 2 was around, I'm so old, man. I've literally been around since Street Fighter. So it's crazy. But in the Alpha 2 days, Alex Valle and a couple others knew about the custom combo startup to where you couldn't block low. And they knew about it, and they purposely didn't say anything about it until they were winning majors. Now, that's fine. That's fine. That's whatever. But in their little scene, to keep it from each other, you got to remember, every time you go to an arcade scene, if I walk into an arcade with $5, guess what happens when I don't have $5 anymore? I'm not playing. So when you're playing against opponents that have knowledge of the game that you don't, if you don't catch on, or if they don't happen to share that information before you run out of that $5, you're now a spectator. You're pretty much watching them in person instead of on YouTube, and it sucks. So when you think about that in their local scene, it's like, imagine how many times they were just taking their money, and there's no telling if there was bets on the line then. That just sucks. That sucks. But all right, so let's go ahead. Let's see here. What did you get from the FGC, and what do you want from the FGC in the future?
What did they get from it?
Yeah, what did you get from it? Did you get anything out of the FGC that is noteworthy? I guess. If not, I mean, it is what it is.
I think overall, just like a few friendships, to be honest. Like some people I met through it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think on some level, it's like a lot of focus and discipline on what I'm doing. There's times where you try to do something or try to hey, I'm gonna do this and that, and then you just kind of fall off and don't care. But consistency has been what it's been in the FGC. Just because what's required to get to the top is you have to keep going. You can't just slack.
That's true.
That's one thing I learned how to do. Just to be a lot more focused and just kind of disciplined with things that it's bled into real life too. Like especially like finishing stuff, whether it be at work or here, just objective A to B, B to C, and then just go that way.
Yeah,
the from it.
Yeah, what do you want from the FGC in the future? Like, what do you see in the future that or what do you hope to see in the future?
Honestly, man, just some kind of unity, man, because like I think overall, like a lot of the FGC is just so toxic to itself now. Like,
especially with all the stuff that's coming out.
I mean, even beyond that, I just mean the people. Like, it's supposed to be a fighting game, fighting game community or whatever. Bring each other together, do something that we like, and just compete. Like, just have honest like competition. But instead, it's like it's partially turned into this whole like, oh, I gotta spotlight kind of deal. And like, I mean, people are so focused on getting to like being in the spotlight that they don't care at what cost it comes at. Like, I guess I kind of miss how the grassroots kind of thing, how it worked a little bit. Like there was a lot of trash talk. I mean, there always is, but it was a little different. Whereas these days it's like constant personal, and then it just, never gets resolved, or it's not like a fun little, rivalry story here. It's just straight like toxicity is just rampant. Especially online. Like if you try to play online, people are just like awful to each other. And I was like, this part of that kind of puts me off a little bit. And that's why I kind of like retaining who I am and just kind of trying to bring the old values like to these days. And it surprises some people. They're like, oh, I thought you were going to be like this. I'm like, why? Like you didn't do anything to me, So what I want from it is just kind of go back a little bit to how things used to be, where sure, you can have rivalries and that kind of stuff, but I mean, you don't outright have to hate each other though. Like,
so
if it's unprovoked.
Absolutely. For me, and this is why, like I said, I'm literally, I can't explain how much I'm writing in this to try and get my docu-series out there. Just because I feel like for me, it would just be something to be nice to look back on for me. But speaking of like unity in the fighting game community back in the day, it was so different when you had the territories. And it's so weird when you had the territories, like everyone that came in that arcade, whether you loved them or hated them, everyone was cordial. Everyone had their character. Everyone had their persona. And then when you would go somewhere, you would all go together, minus the ones you left at the arcade so someone didn't come there and take over the territory. But then you would go there and want to see everyone succeed. And then even the people that beat you, you were cool with. It's just so different now. Like everyone has to have that persona to make themselves interesting. It's way easier in today's age to get noticed by being toxic. And that's the reality of it. I've said it before. People are so worried about redemption arcs and all these people that are toxic, waiting for them to come back and be a better person. It's like, why don't you just follow the better person already? Why don't you just put the interest in the person who's already decent? And back in the day, that's how everyone was decent with each other. There was no one that we outright didn't like. And if they were, it was unanimous. And those people didn't come back anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I know about how that works actually, because around when I started Tekken 5 is where I started really seeing how that was, because I would, aside from FNG, if our entire area, Hampton Roads area, because we had different arcades, if we would travel somewhere else, those like intercity rivalries, they would still, like when I have my own people still cheering against me against some dude from another state, I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Right.
I mean,
and yeah, and that,
I grew pretty rock hard, but like, because I'm, I got to be tough, like that. I'm like, why am I not being supported? Well, supposedly, from what you told me, is when you go, like you just said, that's how I guess you can say that's how I was raised in the FGC by you, was like, okay, cool. We leave all this stuff behind, but when we go somewhere else, we're all on the same side because we're from the same place. It's not how it was. Like, that's not what I experienced. It was like,
right.
These people are they're rooting against me in my own arcade against an outsider. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't understand it.
Yeah, see, there was a guy at Putt Putt. I'm friends with him to this day, or acquaintances. We're cool. We talk on Facebook every once in a while. At the arcade, never had a problem with this guy. It's not like he was a toxic person, but we hated him because his gameplay was so simple. It was so simple. It was so simple. He used Cable and Cyclops. So for anybody who's wondering, I'm talking about Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And if you don't know anything about Marvel vs. Capcom 2, this is going to sound very Greek to you. But the short answer to this was he never did anything. And when I mean he never did anything that was a risk, and he never did anything to innovate. It was the same boring play style. And we didn't hate him. We just hated the way he played. We talked a lot of trash to him, but we were always cool with each other. That's just how it was back then. But if an outsider came in, we would hope that they would meet him in the brackets during like a local tournament, because we knew they would fall for his basic stuff, and we would cheer him on, and we would we'd pull him over in the corner and be like, look, this guy's from out of town. He plays this team. He likes to do this. Wait for this type of stuff. And really root for him to win. But as soon as he leaves, we'd go back to hating him. It was just one of those things. That's just how it was back then. Like, it's just one of them things. So, yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the questionnaire goes. That's exactly who I'm talking about, gamer. See, he knows. That
was before my time, I guess.
Yeah, he knows who I'm talking about. Guy was so basic. It was so annoying. The thing was, though, is he had good execution. So if he hit you, you were eating all 3 air hyper viper beams. You knew you were. But
except that one time I did that crazy one. That was the only thing I ever did in Marvel.
Yeah, that was a good one. I think it's on video too. I think I think it's on one of my YouTube
All
videos.
I know is I didn't understand what was happening because I used to play for fun. You kind of taught me how to play, and then I had a top tier team you picked for me. I was like, yeah, I'll play this because my whole goal was like you and Tekken. You just saw something and you're like, I want to work my game around this. For me, it was Hyper Viper beams. I just like doing it.
Right.
So my whole was based on build the meter to get Cable out and do it. And then I remember that one time like the arcade stopped. Like I was in the middle of a tournament and the dude I was playing, I don't remember his name. Dude I was playing stopped playing. Eric, your brother was like, what? And I was like, what did I do? I thought I did something wrong or something. They're like, how'd you do that? I'm like, do what?
Yeah. I remember that. It was crazy.
Beam was an in the floor Hyper Viper beam. I don't even know what to call it. Like,
No, I've never seen anything like that since or before. So Cable was literally doing an air Hyper Viper beam on the ground, which is, yeah, never seen it before. I haven't seen it since. It was one of those TASBot moments. Like, it was crazy.
at least we saw it. Too bad I never figured out how to do it. That would have changed the game.
It would have been interesting. That's for sure. That's for sure. But yeah, so like, you know, this little series here I'm going to do, I got, Jared Zen told me about that before. Yo, Jared was there, Nick. Jared was there. Was he playing against Jared?
The guy used Mega Man against me for some reason. I remember that much. It was Mega Man, Magneto, and somebody else. I can't remember.
Jared was at that tournament though. It was one of the last tournaments that we had. Yeah, he played Spiral Scent. But he was there. But Jared was there, Sham was there. Obviously me, Fumi, Eric V was there. Like a lot of people were there. It was one of the last tournaments that was held at Putt Putt.
No, it was the I remember that that was the tournament because we didn't have any tournaments for like a couple months. And then when they they finally had first tournament in months. Most of us just entered everything because we're just happy to have the tournaments back. I didn't even play Marvel like that. If that was the guy I was playing cool, all I know is I'm like
no, it wasn't Jared, but he was there. I remember Jared played Spiral Scent Commando. Very weird team, but that's who he played. But yeah, he was there. I know he was there.
I've ever done
and that tournament, I'm pretty sure either me or Fumi won it. I think it was Fumi. Because for me, that's one of the things. I'll always get to like the winners finals and then choke all the way to third place. That was just my thing.
I think that the cabinet wasn't the greatest because I remember you said you're having trouble doing like you drop a lot of stuff with Spiral because the buttons were jacked up. So that could have been it too. I
mean, it's possible. It's highly possible. I know that I got hit out of her teleport, which shouldn't happen. I think it was Eric V. I was fighting Eric V, and he did Sentinel's Sentinel Force, which is the 3 drones across the screen, and I did her teleport. And when she teleported above him, it hit me. And he said it always does, so I made him recreate it on the cabinet after he beat me, and we did it 10 out of 10 times, and it never hit me. I'm just saying. But yeah, so I appreciate you wanting to be the first on this. I did have a Gamer up here, and we did a whole 2-hour podcast about gaming in general, and the file got corrupted. So let's hope that doesn't happen here. But yeah, I do appreciate you stopping by and doing that, sir. Is there anything else you would like to talk about?
Not really. Can't think of much else at the moment.
I got you. Well, I mean, we can still chat if you want, but I'm going to end the podcast here. We're just going to hit the stop button. So if you're watching this on YouTube, give me a follow over at twitch.tv/cyberninja with an S. Stay defaulty, guys. Thanks again, Marvin.
Yep.
All right. And so the recording is done, but we're still live. We're still live, chat. What do you want to talk about, chat? We got Marvin on the line. What do you guys want to talk about? Can't believe Eric V. What happened to him? I have his phone number still. Didn't he get raided by the cops?
What?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got raided by the cops, drugs. I'm spitting some crazy rumors, so if that's not true, forgive me, but I'm pretty sure that happened.
Well, now I won't feel so bad about eating these kettle chips.
Some kettle chips? I had kettle chips with my Jersey Mike's for dinner, chat.
It's my cheat day, so I was going in.
What's going on, Jared? I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself? Actually, I'm not doing pretty good. I'm coming down from a migraine headache. And even though my face looks like I'm doing fantastic, I'm actually struggling to even form a sentence. But I still want to be here for the Cyberverse and all that good stuff. FTC for life. What's going on, buddy? My last memory of Eric V is at Katsucon one year when Tatsukano came out. And I'm pretty sure I butchered that. And Eric mauled everyone and said it was because he was snowed in. So he had it in a TV. Yeah, Eric V was very, very shady. Very shady. But there was one thing about him. There was one thing about him and his friend Derek that a lot of people don't realize. When he would go to tournaments, him and Derek, see, when I would go to tournaments, right, my trip would be paid for. Round trip, I'm going there, I'm playing in the tournament. Whatever I won, great. If I didn't win, which wasn't often, but if I didn't, I would come back with nothing. I would still be okay. These cats would travel with no way to come home, $0. So if they didn't win, they didn't know how they were getting home. And I can tell you, they played like their life depended on it, because it kind of did. Yeah, Jared, the migraines for me, they suck. I spent all night last night literally in bed. That's why I didn't stream last night. I didn't get up at all. But yeah, Nick, they traveled, and like a lot of times, like when they would get put out and it would still be me and Fumi in there, they'd be like, hey, can you help us get home? That's crazy. It wasn't often though. They were good players. They were good players. That's why I said for my docuseries, I'm going to have, I don't know if I'll have anybody on to bounce ideas off of. Like that way I can chat about it. If I did, it would have to be with Archon or someone else from that era, just because they can actually speak on it. But I'm definitely going to do the series for me. Like I said, I want to get my thoughts out there, and it's the best way to be able to look back on them 10, 15 years from now and just be like, wow, it was like that. And it's like, yeah, it was. I know so many people that who that says that about Soul Calibur 3. He said, I needed to eat, so I needed to beat everyone. Yeah, man. It's.
Oh, yeah. I still remember that when they cheated me so he could do that. That pissed me off the one time, too.
I can't, Jared. He's not allowed on Twitch. For in case you didn't know, Marvin, he said, you should get Dr. Disrespect on your podcast. I can't have him on Twitch. I'll get banned. Now, if he wants to do it on YouTube, sure. Hit me up, Doc, even though you're not watching Twitch right now because you're banned. But, you know.
That made me so hot, dude. Because you know, like putt or play around golfing games, they used to always be like tight or whatever, right? Did I ever tell you about what happened that one Soul Calibur tournament, dude? They basically scammed me out of my win.
Soul Calibur?
Yeah, Soul Calibur 3. I still remember it too, because Waylon got 4th. Because I actually did really well. It was like I entered Tekken and Soul Calibur. I got 5th in Tekken, and then I got 2nd in Soul Calibur, but I should have won.
So who'd that take your money?
He shouldn't have, but yes. No. He even told me what they did back then, because I was so pissed off, man, and I knew it. There's nothing I could do about it, because 1 minute, but there was 11 people in the bracket, right? And then they were like, okay. They even said at the beginning before the tournament started, they're like, okay, this entire tournament, even the grand finals, we're just doing 2 out of 3 because there's not that many of us. We're like, okay, cool. They're like, yeah, and it's I think it was winner take all, or a split between first and second, something like that. So I actually get up to grand finals using Talum, who's occasionally considered tournament unplayable in that game, along with it was Tira and Rock. So I'm fighting Hudat, and he tried to pick, who did he pick first? Yoshi? And I ran through him. I'm talking like ass whooping. Dude, I still remember the scenario that happened. It was like, okay, so I won. I beat him 2 times, and it was like 2 out of 3. I'm like, sweet. Like I won the tournament. Like, cool.
Give me my money.
Like, oh no, yeah. They're like, what was that kid's name? The one that used Nightmare. It was on the tip of my tongue. Oh, God, he used to.
I don't know who was it, Nick.
But I can't remember.
Who used Nightmare in Soul Calibur?
He used Al Gold in Soul Calibur 4 too. He always used the big bodies, the cheap characters. I can't remember.
Oh, you remember that guy that used to hang out at Fun F&G? That played Nightmare, and what was his name? What a dirtbag he was.
I think it was Jester. Oh, that was that dude's name. Oh, but so get this. They're like, oh no, it's 3 out of 5. I'm like, what? And me and Waylon are sitting there. I'm like, didn't they say 2 out of 3? He's like, no, it was 3 out of 5. I'm like, okay. So he picked Zosomel, who is one of the dumbest characters in that game, because he's literally just a walking mix-up. So I still managed to fight him off and get him down to the last round, the last hit. And I hit him with Talem's full crouch down forward BB, which is a launcher.
Mhm.
What I didn't know in that game is after you do that, like, okay, so I hit him with it. I start running. She can do her windsault out of her run,
Mhm.
and then I was gonna do A plus B, which is a mid. And he got up and he tech rolled, and I was gonna get up and hit him. Like, it's kind of a back turn gimmick. I didn't know that when Talem's running full tilt and I jump, when she stops, if you're holding forward, she jumps again, and I rang myself out.
GG.
I did a double jump I didn't know existed. I was so pissed.
GG.
And it never should have gotten to that point. And he told me years later, because we talked about it like a couple of years ago, because I mean, we're cool and stuff, but he's like, yeah, no, we know. He's like, they bullshitted you because I had no money that time and they're trying to help me out so I could get home or eat or some shit. So it was a
Aw.
tournament I should have won that they cheated me out of. I was so pissed off, man.
Well, you
Especially
just
back
had
then,
to beat him more though.
Yeah. And I did, but then I killed myself.
You know, he streams, Nick Marvin. He streams Soul Calibur. Did you know that, Nick? He streams on here every once in a while. Not on my channel, but on Twitch.
Well, who that? Yeah, no. I talked to him.
So I've been in his channel a few times.
Watched him play a Predator Hunting Grounds. That shit was funny.
That game is, man, I was hoping that game would be good. It's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah, but see, the Newport News Putt-Putt crew that I hung around with was the original people that ran that place. And then when Nick's crew, which was like Hoodat, Nick, Jamie.
I'm just looking at the comments. Yeah, see, Gin Master is, you know the backstory. A lot of the hatred I have for like the fighting game community and like the stuff I fought against was because of that douchebag. He's one of the few people that is on my I legit hate the person list. Like I don't hate, I hate things about people. Sometimes I dislike people, don't want anything to do with them. I absolutely despise this dude.
No, if I could break a law for a day.
Well, honestly, FNG basically saved him from an ass beating.
Oh yeah, multiple times, which shouldn't have, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that one time, it was funny because I didn't even notice what you guys were doing, but I legit, that was the one time I broke my cardinal rule, and I was almost going to swing on him first. Like, never have I considered that because it's always self-defense. I don't like to act, but no. When he got that close to me and tried to talk shit in my face, and I felt that spittle hit me, dude, I was like, you just spit on me, dog. Like, that's
yeah, no, that guy was very toxic and still is, from what I understand, still very toxic. But yeah, Jared was part of the original Putt-Putt crew. It was Jared, Greg, James, and that was kind of it, really. Jamie was there. He was playing Ruby Heart at the time. He might still be playing Ruby Heart.
Fumi. Wasn't he part of that too?
No, Jared was, Fumi was military.
Oh.
Newport News Putt-Putt was, they were the stepchildren to the Putt-Putt crew. Like, we were the elites. They were the other players. They were the other side of the water. A lot of people almost took Gym Master out, and I don't advocate violence towards anyone, but that dude, very toxic person. Why he wasn't?
Dude, you remember Carlos and Maurice, man?
Yeah.
When Gin Master talked trash to Carlos, I'm like, that's the wrong dude to do that to.
It's true.
That was the funniest thing I've ever seen. That was the only time I've seen that dude actually shut up.
I mean, that and
he would actually do.
He was a weird, and his brother is he's in jail right now. So yeah.
So your Putt-Putt crew was my FNG, basically.
Yeah. See, for me, like I said, I'm going to do my docuseries, but in my era, for Street Fighter, there was no better place than Putt-Putt, military Putt-Putt. There was no better. Even to this day, I mean, you can't find a better place. You just can't. For Street Fighter 2, Omar Deloney was Alex Valle level, arguably on the same page. The dude is godlike. For Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, there was no better place than Fun and Games in our area. period. It's not a debate. It's not even questionable. It's just facts. Killer Instinct was also fun and games. But by then, we took a lot of our time was spent at putt-putt, so we were kind of molded. Like, we spent as much time at putt-putt as we did fun and games. So after Killer Instinct, the fun and games crew might as well have just been called the putt-putt crew. Like, we were all one. At that point, Omar wasn't really playing as much. He still played Marvel, but he wasn't playing as much. And we just kind of took over putt-putt. Coliseum Mall had good Mortal Kombat players, good Killer Instinct players. They didn't have too many good Street Fighter players. Lynn Haven always had solid players. They just did. It was weird. Like, they weren't a crew. It was always just like a couple guys that would like be there, but they didn't like talk to each other. It's very weird, but they were decent at the game. But Greenbrier Mall, Patrick Henry Mall, you cannot tell me a player that came from there that was notable with the exception of Chris Spraw. Tower Mall, same thing.
That name, dude. I remember the story you told me about that guy with your brother, dude. That was funny.
Yeah, I don't like Chris Spraw. That's another guy I don't like. He was young though. I mean, maybe he's changed his attitude in life. I don't know.
Well, either way, I'm glad like the direct result of my skill in Mortal Kombat is because like I basically played one of the best people and got taught by him. But it was I haven't told the most recent story. Somebody trying to challenge me in MK or UMK3 because I found out I played it. It was actually J Farm was there for it, and I didn't even know this was a thing. Apparently, one of Waylon's friends from the shipyard was like, he said he plays it, right, and he wanted to play me. Well, I didn't put two and two together. There's a guy that always came into Atlantis, and yeah, apparently, like, because one time I was sitting in the back and I was playing it, and then people were stepping up to play, like, "Ooh, I want to play." I'm like, "All right." I'm just kind of in my head. I'm like, "They're not going to beat me." I'm just kind of messing around. There's one dude that seemed like he knew what he was doing a little bit. I was like, "Okay, all right." So I actually like, all right, let me do what Cyber does real quick. Let me turn it up to 100 and see what happens.
Right.
So I beat him down like real bad, just constantly. And then people are like, "Oh no, you can still play." It's like 5 straight matches. Like, "Oh, okay," and then he walks off and leaves. Found out later about that week that was the same guy Waylon was talking about. I didn't know they knew each other, and I didn't know that was the guy, the Small World, that he was talking about. And I was like, "Oh, he was the one I was supposed to play." I'm like, "Yo." I put him in the dumpster and gave him a fucking friendship too.
Nice. Yeah, see, it's funny because UMK3, when I was at E3 one year, and I don't remember which MK they were unveiling. I'm trying to remember. No, because 4 I saw at Putt Putt, and I told Ed Boon it was trash.
Yeah, because you told me you went on right after that, and your whole day was.
Yeah, that whole day was just bad. That whole day was just bad. That day was, we got to play Mortal Kombat 4 as a test run at Military Putt Putt because they did a tour where they literally brought the Mortal Kombat bus and Putt Putt. I don't know how Putt Putt. Omar had some really not deep pockets, but deep connections. And he got the tour there. I don't know why. We were better at Mortal Kombat. Whatever. I was still going to go there. It's not like I wasn't going to be there and show them what's up. But we went to Putt Putt. We played it, and you had to wait in line. And when you played it, they didn't do the winner stays. So we purposely set it up to where the Fun and Games crew would fight each other so we could guarantee 3 rounds so we could learn how to play. After we figured out that the game was absolute garbage, Ed Boon asked us, "So guys, what do you think of Mortal Kombat 4? I looked that man dead in his face and said, "It's trash." It's trash. I'm not a toxic person. That's a bad game. There's a difference. That game's trash. And so after that, we went and saw Spawn. So yeah, that day was amazing. Amazing day. As far as, so Omega said Tower Mall had Samurai Showdown. I said Tower Mall had a lot of good games, just not anyone good at them. And Gamer says that Sam Show Scene was mean there. They had decent Samurai Showdown players. Here's the thing with SNK games, right? I was always a fan of them. I didn't think that they played particularly well, but I was always a fan of them as far as like the story mode and I felt like the characters had so much style. But if you went to Putt Putt, just one time, right? Everything there was big screens. It was big screen cabinets with seats. At the time of the height of Putt Putt, when before Marvel 2, but this is like Mortal Kombat height. You had UMK3 and 2 big screen cabinets. You had Killer Instinct, but for some reason Killer Instinct was not on a big screen cabinet. That was on a regular cabinet. I'm not sure why. Street Fighter, I don't know if it was Street Fighter 3 or Street Fighter Alpha 3. This is why I'm doing my stuff in my docu-series, because a lot of it just melds together. So I need to look at times when games were out. But they had 2 I'm just going to say Street Fighter. I don't know which Street Fighter it was, but it was 2 big screen Street Fighter machines. Over there in the corner of Putt Putt, right? It was a big square. But in the corner of Putt Putt was 2 big screen SNK cabinets, usually King of Fighters, and then the other one would have been some other SNK game like Mark of the Wolves or something that was not KOF related. If you played me in Mortal Kombat at Putt Putt, you would get a lesson, first of all, on how to play the game, and then after you lost to me, you would get a lesson on why you lost. I mean, it's just that's who I was. I wasn't trying to be rude if that person was receptive. First of all, if you were playing at Putt Putt, you weren't a button masher. That's just how it was. If you were at Putt Putt, because that place was so out of the way, you didn't go there to play Putt Putt at 11 o'clock at night. So if you were there, you knew how to play a game. So if you were playing me in Mortal Kombat and you lost, I'm going to tell you why you lost. If you don't want to hear it, I'm just going to continue to give you, I'm either going to turn into a wolf and eat you, or I'm going to give you arcade cabinet. Like, it's just one of those things. So, and if you went to go play Street Fighter, Omar or Chris Gridibus, they would constantly beat you in Street Fighter. Now, I don't know. Omar was always cool with me. And so was Chris. I still talk to Chris very often now because I work with him. But if you went over to the KOF machines, and I can't stress this enough, if you went over to the KOF machines, you would promptly get beaten so bad and not know what happened. And they would not tell you what happened. Like, it was always 2 or 3 guys, right, playing in an SNK cabinet. And they were the same 2 or 3. They didn't leave. Like, if I was playing Killer Instinct, I would play Killer Instinct for a while. And then if Sandro would go up there to play Killer Instinct, I'd go play Mortal Kombat, right? I'd go run Mortal Kombat for a little while. When I'd got tired of Mortal Kombat, I'd go try my hand at Street Fighter. Keep in mind, anyone who knows me, I'm not bad at Street Fighter. I don't hold a candle to Omar. Like, I've beaten him. It doesn't matter. I would go over there and try my hand at trying to play him because I like playing people that are better than me. I went over to the KOF cabinet one time. Once. And I never went back. Those guys made me feel like I was 2 years old and then proceeded to put me in timeout and not tell me what I did wrong. Like, they send you in the corner and they're like, now think about what you did. It's like, the only thing I did was put my money in. Like, I didn't even get to do anything. It's absolutely ridiculous. I would sit there, right? I'd put my money in. It was KOF, not 98. Was there a 96? Was there KOF? Was there? I don't know. What was the first King of Fighters? It was probably the first one. 97, 94, I believe. Yeah. So whatever, right? Whatever KOF, it doesn't even matter. I put my money in, right? And I'm looking for characters that fit my style, right? You know, I play Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct. I can't even tell you the 3 characters I picked because I lost the game before I even knew how to even press a button. Like, they were doing combos and I'm just sitting there watching it and I'm like, really, dude? Like, I'm 13 years old.
Yeah.
They demolished you. And the thing was, is like, if somebody played me in Mortal Kombat, right? And after I beat him in Mortal Kombat, I would try to coax them into coming back and playing me. Not because I wanted to beat them, but I just didn't want to play the computer, right? So I needed to make them better so I could continue to have competition. But at the same time, I just didn't want to play the computer. That's not what I'm there for. So I would talk to the person. I'd be like, oh, good games, man. You know, do you play any other characters? Where are you from? Do you come here a lot? You know, just random chit chat. Over there, no, there's nothing. Half the time, they're not even looking at you when they beat you. They're looking at their friend talking about the combo they just did to you. It's like, man, I'm going to do that on anybody very often. It's like, what? Really, dude? Yeah, no. So that crew could stay in that corner and they could just stay over there. And they're probably still in that corner now.
That reminds me of that one guy at F&G that was talking trash. That's the only time I've ever seen that happen. Remember, it was like a couple years after we met, and it was when UMK3 was in the corner by your guys' back office.
Mm-hmm.
And that one dude was playing with Melina, right? And then I forgot what happened. I think because I was a little inexperienced against her because nobody really used her. So I was sandbagging. I picked Scorpion, and he actually beat me. I was like, okay, no big deal. So I'm like, let me go up to Changer and get $1 and then like play for real. But by the time I went to the Changer and came back, you started playing the guy, but you beat that man like I have never seen you beat down anybody before. I'm like, what the hell just happened? And then you told me that he was like, when you asked him, oh, could I play? And he's like, you can try. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, so fun fact, right? And when I worked at this arcade, I would walk by and I would watch people play Mortal Kombat 3. We didn't have 2 anymore. We just had UMK3. And I would go and dig in my pockets, and I'm like, you know, when they're playing the computer, I'd be like, hey man, you mind if I play? And 90% of the time, people would look over at me and notice who I was, and they'd be like, no, we're cool. Like, they didn't want to play me, right? And I'm like, oh, okay. Sometimes people would be like, sure, no problem. Yeah, let's play. All right, cool. And I would play, and I would just mess around with them. Most of the time, I would let them win because I'd be at work, right? So I would play them and just make it really close, and I'd let them win, and then I'd go about my business. This one particular time, right? This one particular time, I walk by, and I'm at this point, I'm almost positive that a customer had asked me for change, right? They had asked me for change that I didn't have enough on my person. So I had to go into the back to get the change. So when I went to the machine, I was watching him play, and I'm like, hey man, you mind if I play? Just as I was walking by like I normally do. And he looks over at me with the most smug look. I mean, with the confidence of someone that would have an entire army behind them. And he goes, you can try. I had already opened the back door to start going in and get change because I was in such a routine of people saying no. And this dude's like, you can try. Okay. You ever seen what an MK2 arcade cabinet looked like? You're about to find out. Yeah, I proceeded to beat him pretty bad. And then walk off to go give the customer their change. I had to make it quick because I was working. I mean, it is what it is.
I was dying. I was like, that's what he gets. And he actually played Melina too. I'm like, not in this game, homie. That's the wrong game.
Yeah, no, she was actually really bad in that game too. But yeah, so as far as SNK games, I didn't play them much growing up, and that's because Fun and Games always had the old version, if they even had any. They'd have like Fatal Fury 1 when there'd be on Fatal Fury 29. So I didn't play that. I did play Samurai Showdown 2, and I played KOF, but at Newport Military Putt-Putt, you didn't even look in that direction. Like, those people had like the same style as the characters they played. So you'd look over there, and one of the ones that wouldn't be playing would look at you, and their eyes would turn all red. It's like, what the... Like, I'm just looking at the game, guys. Chill. They're very weird people. One dude always wore a straw hat, super loud. Like, he yelled all the time. But eventually, when people stopped playing KOF, he would watch Street Fighter, and he was one of the best commentators I've ever had to experience in the arcade life. Yeah, so Tokyo was he played Charlie, and he was weird, man. Like, he was a really good player, but a very unorthodox player, but very good, very quiet. I'm pretty sure he wanted us. I'm pretty sure when you asked him his name, he said it was Tokyo. I'm pretty sure he never told anybody his name. He just went by the name Tokyo. But he was a cool dude. He stopped coming up there too, like when the Marvel like Versus series came out. He played a lot of Alpha and then KOF games and didn't show up that much anymore. So
I think I played everything like that late, except for I think Tekken 5 was more kind of started with the current game.
It's weird because Tekken 4 was such a bad game that when Tekken 5 came out and I started to play that, because I played Tekken 4 competitively once. Tekken 4 was such a bad game, and I went to Game Time Arcade, which was the premier arcade in Virginia, to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And other than Putt Putt for us up north, that was the place to go. And I would enter every video game tournament. And the reason why is because most of the the tournaments that happened in arcades didn't have 6-7 cabinets or consoles for everybody to play on to speed run through a tournament. So even a 16-man bracket tournament would take almost all day because it would be one cabinet. So I would play every single game that they had a tournament for just so I wouldn't fall asleep. I would just go play every game. So Tekken 4, I went to go play. And they called my name, Cyber Ninja. And so I go up there, and the guy that I'm playing against, it wasn't Bill, but Bill was there. And he was talking to the guy that was playing against me. And in that game, the top tiers in that game were like Steve Fox, Paul Phoenix, Jin.
And
yeah. So, and this guy picked Paul Phoenix. Now I don't even remember who I picked, man. It doesn't even matter. I'm pretty sure it was Waring. And he proceeded to beat me without looking at the screen. Didn't even look at the cabinet. He was too busy talking to Bill. And after he beat me without even watching the screen, he was like, this guy's supposed to be good, right? And the one who was running the tournament said, yeah, he is, at Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And that was the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 tournament that I ended up winning at Game Time with out-of-towners from New York. So I guess losing in Tekken fueled that fire. The old man who played Tag 1, they did no combos but would kill you. Oh, the old men. Yeah, he hung out with the guy that played with the straw hat, right? Didn't he play Yoshimitsu? He still played Tekken 5. He would come to Fun and Games and play Tekken 5, and he would always be drunk. Played Yoshimitsu. You know who I'm talking about, Marvin?
Yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah.
Vaguely. I know what you're talking about, but
he used to always come to Putt Putt and play Tekken Tag, and he would play Yoshimitsu and I think it was Kunimitsu. And yeah, he didn't do any juggles, but he wasn't like, it's weird because he wasn't bad at the game, but he never adapted. Like, he never got better. He just was fine with being mediocre. And he played Tekken 5 the exact same way. And then Tekken 6 was console, so. But yeah, in Tekken 5, when I started playing Tekken 5, because I didn't play any Tekken 4, I had no intentions of becoming competitive in that game. And then teaching the new F&G crew Tekken, I got back into it and started playing again. And then 5-0 Nina was so broken, I was like, yeah, let me go win a bunch of tournaments real quick.
It's weird. I didn't even like Tekken beforehand. Like, I knew of it. I remember I played Tekken 3 and picked Eddie at somebody's birthday at one point. And I think I lost to his Yoshi. And now in hindsight, I remember Yoshi was literally beating me just doing standing 4. I'm like, bro. And then one of my friends, he was always into it. Like, he had like PS2, he had like Tag 1 and Tekken 4. He's like, you should play this. I'm like, I don't feel like it. But I used to always see Tekken 4 next to Soul Calibur, and I was like, all right, well, if I play that game, I play that guy, like Kazuya, because he's smart. He just looks like the kind of character I'd play. And I got into Tekken 5 because of that one douchebag that could never beat us, that weird-ass guy, the racist kid.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't ever beat me in Soul Calibur 2, and then he couldn't really beat Mike or Roby after a while because they're playing with me so much. And Mike just wanted to try Tekken 5 one day. I still remember this because he went over and he picked Jin. The guy left in the middle of our match. I'm not even kidding. I'm in the middle of fighting this dude. He walks off the cabinet, puts in his quarters where Mike is, and he beats him down, but he's looking at him funny every time, like he hits him with Paul, like just looking away from the screen. And I'm like, so this dude left our match because he can't win. Goes to fight a guy that's been playing this game for like 2 minutes to beat him down and troll him. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get good enough in that game to whoop his ass on that too. And I just never stopped. So now, Tekken 7, 10 years later, 12 years later, I'm still playing.
Yeah, I mean, motivation, man. It's a wonder. Gamer was talking about a guy at Putt Putt that used to play Bruce, and he was huge guy, like very in shape. And if he beat you, he would get up and do the Bruce poses in
What?
person. Yeah, he was a weird dude, man. He did not like losing. He was I don't know, it was weird. Like he didn't show up there very often, but when he did, like he would just keep playing. Like he would spend a lot of money and he wasn't bad, but yeah, if he beat you, he would, pick which button cuz in Tekken which button you hold is the pose that you get.
Yeah, the win pose.
So he would hold that button and when that pose would come up, he would get up and do whatever pose on the cabinet. I don't know, man. He was a weird guy. How many people remember Psy? You guys remember Psy?
Heard the name, but I don't know the guy. I think it was before I really knew you guys.
Psy was so cool, man. Like, he was such a cool dude, man. And then he left and he came back and he actually came over here to this house that I'm at now, like within the last 10 years. And when he came here, he was like a completely different person. He had a scar on his face and we were playing Marvel and it just was not the same vibe. And he only was here for like an hour and a half. And then he was like, I got to go. I'm like, that's probably for the best because it's like his whole, I don't know what he went through in that time that he was no longer at Putt Putt, but he's seen some stuff, been through some stuff, and his humor and his whole demeanor has changed. I mean, people change, but he went from being like a careless dude to just serious. And
I don't know. I think at least for me as a person, I've changed for the better, but overall, I'm still the same person. Just who I am.
it's weird. Like I still have the same mindset, but it's so different for me when I look at the person that I was from the arcade eras to the person I am now as a dad. I'm so different. But inside I feel the same, but I know I'm not. Like I know I'm not, but it's not a bad or good thing. It's just I'm just different.
Yeah, I mean, that's how life works. Really, it's just your experiences and stuff to find who you are as you go. And little things change. Some people change big, some small.
Yeah, like I try to do like everything that it's weird because everything I do now has always got her in mind. Like everything. It's just who I am now and who I'll always be. But I'm okay with that. Just it's different when I was careless and I would just, oh, we're going to go to California tonight. Sure. On a whim, let's go to, final round the night before, those things, those days are gone. And even now when I try to plan them out, it's like I have vacation time, but do I want to spend it, away from her or that takes away from me doing something with her for vacation. So my motivations for playing fighting games now they're just different, but I still want to continue to.
I just thought about something.
What's up, Marcus? He said, just don't walk out of meetings. Hey, let me just tell you now, there have been a couple that, yeah, it's almost come to that. I'm on light duty right now though, so it's whatever. How you been, Marcus? We're just sitting here chatting. We got some topics going. We're going like that. How did you get into video games? I had Marvin on. If you missed the podcast, it will be up on YouTube after. I might do some editing. I might not. I might just throw it up there the way that it was. We're going to have some more people doing the podcast. I might have an F&G roundtable where we bounce some stuff back off and forth. I'm just going to pick a night to where it's always going to be on, and then we can just always get on and do it. Now, it looks a little low budget right now because I thought for sure you could make the Discord thing the whole screen. I thought you could. Where it's just his emblem. But apparently I don't know how to do that because I'm a moron. So, yeah.
I gotta, because I forgot what he said. You said something earlier because you're like, your whole, what would you say about MK3? Oh, because you like playing the computer. That's why you try to make people better, which is what a lot of people don't understand these days. Like they don't make their own competition; they try to like smother it. But I think the one crowning achievement I had, I was like, I'm content with this when it comes to Mortal Kombat, like UMK3, is that one time we were playing at your house that night because we were training for that one. They were actually gonna have a tournament at, was it Top of the Food Chain?
Right. Uh-huh.
And we were playing, and I was Human Smoke, and you're Nightwolf. Remember, you beat me. It was like we were playing the final round, like third round, and then you beat me, and you you gave me a mercy. And then I ended up beating you, and I actually won once. And like, bro, I don't think I ever told you this, like how much that actually it made my day. I was like, I'm retiring from UK3 right here just because of that. Because you were like, oh man, never mind, I shouldn't have did that. It's like I forgot who I was playing, bro. That meant everything. I'm like, you know how long I was struggling at UK3 to actually put a dent or even like win against you at that point, to where you actually said, I forgot who I was playing, so I'm not just some computer scrub anymore. I was like,
The validation.
right, I can retire happy now from UK3.
You know, it's crazy, man. Like, it's cool to know when you or have reached someone's level. And in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, there was never a person, and I mean this, there was never a person that I played that I couldn't beat. All the way up to Justin Wong. There was never a person that I played I couldn't beat, and it always felt good to play someone better than you and then to be able to rise to their level. It always felt good. But not every game was that way. There's one person on this planet that I never beat. One person in a game that I've never beaten. And it was Tekken Tag. And I was actually fairly good at Tekken Tag. I went and competed in California for what they considered the world tournament for that. It was thrown by Namco, and I got 13th. So I mean, I wasn't bad at Tekken Tag. And the winner of that got like this massive leather jacket, and on the back it said Tekken on it. It was actually pretty dope. It was a legit leather jacket. It had the spikes on the top. I think it was like Paul's leather jacket, but that was what you got for winning. Excuse me. That's what you got for winning, not money. But I wanted that jacket. Are you kidding me? But anyway, so I was pretty good at Tekken Tag, but there was one person that to this day I can never get redemption on because A, I can't stand this person. B, Tekken Tag's dead. C, don't know when I'd ever get a chance to again. But I never beat him. Ever. Out of all the people I've played in the world, there's one person I've never beat. And you know who that is?
No idea.
Chris Sprah. I never beat him in Tekken. I never beat him. I came back from Cali with way more knowledge at that game. And in that game, obviously, you know, Ogres and Jin and
Changs.
Yeah, I mean, and Chang's, yeah. Like, they were all really good. And the team that I used was Hwoarang and Jin. Sometimes Kazuya. But that's who I used, Hwoarang and Jin. And he would use Bruce and Ogres, or Bruce and Michelle or Julia, one of the two. Didn't matter. Either way, for as much as I don't like the kid, he was talented at that game. And no matter what I did, it would always be close. It would always be down to the last round. I never beat him. Out of all the people, like, you got to think, Justin Wong went undefeated for almost 10 years in tournament. Like, that dude was unstoppable, and I beat him. I could never beat Chris Sprah. Isn't that weird? Because Chris Sprah is not that level of player, but I just couldn't beat him. He had my number, and I never. But I mean, I only played him in that game. Like, he was at Patrick Henry Mall, and I played him 2 weekends in a row. Each time, exhausted whatever funds I had took up there, and he took my money. I never beat him. He never traveled for anything until Marvel vs. Capcom 2 when he started traveling. But at that same token, he never beat me at Marvel 2. And they were talking about him as the prodigy. He was the next big thing at a Newport News putt-putt. Yeah, no, sit down, little kid. You ain't ready. You ain't ready for that smoke.
Actually, now that I think about it, I think when it comes to, well, specifically UMK3, I've only ever beaten you twice, and one of those I really don't count as legit because we were playing Trilogy and it was Noob Saibot. All he needs is one hit and you're dead.
Yeah, that game's so bad. That game's so bad.
UMK3, it was just that one match.
So
That was the only time I've legit actually beaten you. I was like, okay, wow, I finally did it at least once, dude. It was crazy.
Where's it at? There is hang on. There's actually a yes. I don't know who this is. PND K and M. Does anybody know who these is?
Yeah, Ketchup and Mustard.
Yeah.
I played them at Evo and UMK3 on the cabinet. Dude, that was the most fun I had. Derek knows I was over. Anytime Derek was like, "Where you at?" UMK3.
Yeah, but
I was playing tech.
So, but they do the MK meta videos. Have you ever watched them?
Recently, I don't know why I've been on MK recently. I've been watching all their stuff. I watched some old classic stuff. Really
they talk about the Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 era, which they didn't play. Even UMK3 they didn't play. And I was watching their videos back at it, and they were like the people who gave them the information that they took, and they took it from Mortal Kombat threads as well, was actually very spot on. They're actually very spot on with how the arcade scene was then. And it's like, I want to do like the Mortal Kombat scene from when I was like there, but I'm like, man, they pretty legit. Red Eyes Blaze, your UMK3 Nightwolf was OD. What's up, man? I mean, I try. People sleep on Nightwolf though, right?
I have argued with so many people that try to argue tiers with me and stuff. I'm like, you don't understand. I was like, you can't just go by what you read. Like, I have fought against this crap. Like, I know exactly what I'm talking about.
And you know what was crazy too?
They tried to tell me that Ermac was banned. I'm like, no, he wasn't.
Ermac wasn't that.
No, he wasn't. Cabal was the best one in the game. Human Smoke was 2. Kung Lao was 3. Like, we know how it works. Like, we went through it.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's so funny because like anyone who talks about like UMK3 tournaments or MK2 tournaments from back then, it's like, no, I was literally there. Like, that's not how it was. And they were talking about how one of the things that they did mention that I think is interesting when they were talking about the MK days is that it's hard to go back and see tournament data because there was no internet. So everything was like on paper. So when I talk about the tournaments that were held then, I didn't play a lot of Mortal Kombat 1 tournaments. For one, like I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, I was young and my hands, I couldn't play. It was very frustrating because you have to be able to keep your hand spread out. And I couldn't. And so I got good on console for Mortal Kombat 1. But in MK2, I guess I hit the stride, right? And I really like... They were the worst button placements. But in MK2, I really...
The run button, I was like down by the boondocks.
Right. But so MK2, when it came to tier lists in that game, it was very apparent very early in the game who the top 3 were in that game. It doesn't even matter who it is after that. Right?
Jax, Melina, Liu Kang.
Yeah, it was very apparent. Like, it was very apparent early on. But it was like... we still wanted to push that game as hard as we could. And when UMK3 came out, the only reason why I played Nightwolf is because nobody else was. That's the only reason why I played him. I thought he was a decent looking character. His combo started low and it could launch. And a lot of people didn't play him because a lot of the combos that you would do would just be like, you know, a few kicks, punches. And if it was a launcher, it was just down and high punch, right? So I was like, well, Nightwolf's is unique because you actually have to do the axe. And then I'm like, you know, then I started, you know, practicing with doing more axes. And then I'm like, oh, wait, if you wait till at this point, you get the run back right at the last second so you can run up and punch and do another one on certain characters. And then he had the infinite in the corner. All that stuff you had to figure out. And so when you would go to tournaments, 90% of the players would just be awful because they didn't know. But I mean... Alex Valle had a very important discussion on his Twitter with, it was Red Eyes, 100%. And he was talking about, like, they got into an argument with people that were saying that competition nowadays is harder than competition was back then. And I don't believe that is true. There's more consistent players now because you have readily access, information. You can literally go to YouTube and see whatever top player is doing, and you can X copy it, and you can potentially be a top player. You can play online, and you'll find people with different strats. But back in the day, you didn't know what the opponent was capable of, and you didn't know what the game was capable of. So what you thought was good might not be. Like, everyone had the potential to be at that level. It's just they hadn't seen that level. And so when you go somewhere and you see someone leaps and bounds ahead of you, you had to catch up really quick. It's just a different mindset.
Yeah, and like I said, it's strange because I went through that specifically with UMK3 because I mean you and me were pretty much, aside from Straggler in there were the only ones that played it, but I didn't understand that was actually happening until like years later when I was kind of invested in tournament scenes for Tekken and stuff. I'm like, now in hindsight with that experience under my belt, I'm like, oh, so that's why I realized I got so good at UMK3 so fast, because of like playing against the only person I know that's at that level already. Nobody else was beating me except you. So it was different too, because again, there was I didn't look stuff up on the net. I just learned stuff from you, figured things out on accident. Before I didn't actually know the difference between Scorpion and Human Smoke other than it was Human Smoke. And then you're like, oh, he's got a pop-up launcher. I'm like, oh, what? You showed me? I'm like, oh my God, this character's busted.
Yeah, that's literally like, that's one of the main differences right there.
And that was the only game where, I mean, I did use Scorpion in every single game since the start, but it was the only game where I just outright replaced Scorpion with Human Smoke because I'm like, why not?
See, when it comes to MK9 Red Eyes, I'm not the person to mention about that.
Mine was weird. I liked it because it finally went from the 3D era, which we weren't
back to 2D. Back to
kind of like 2D-ish, but I'll tell you what was OD in that game. Sonya, freaking Cyrax. Every time they fixed one broken thing, he broke something else.
I mean, that's true.
Ball was still godlike. Kung Lao was stupid, and I was a Scorpion player. He was high mid-tier-ish, and I had a backup with Johnny Cage because he was dumb too. He was forward 3 is all you needed. Forward 3 and like his series, and just kind of stagger that with his. He was dumb.
Yeah.
The game had some dirt, man.
Red Eye says early Tekken Zaibatsu and Shoryuken forums were a blessing. So I love the Shoryuken forums. I love the Tekken forums when they first started. Obviously, towards the end, they just became too toxic. But the one thing that I really liked about Tekken Zaibatsu, and I can't remember the guy now that did the videos, and this was pre-YouTube, so you had to download these videos, but he did combo videos, and the music was always so amazing, and those videos were so well done. It was very inspiring because a lot of that stuff for Tekken Tag on Tekken Zaibatsu was I learned from that site, whereas on Shoryuken we were kind of the trendsetters, like East Coast and West Coast showing off information. It was different with Marvel. Like we were actually like showing stuff. I don't remember, Gamer. It had to be. I'm pretty sure it was. I wish I could find the videos just because they were freaking, the music was amazing. It was like what?
No, I was like, no, keep going. I was going to say something about music that I think you're going to remember too.
Oh, but yeah, I don't remember who it was. I just remember that it was really good. But yeah, for Shoryuken, early Shoryuken days were good because knowledge was actually being passed and people were actually cordial with each other. Towards the end, it was just tournament results and trash talk. There was literally nothing in between. You couldn't have a conversation. It was just, I know more than you. You bet me money.
Yeah. But it was, I want to say it was the same year they DQ'd me from Marvel while I was eating, after they skipped my match like 4 times. But you remember that one station from Marvel 2 that had that custom Marvel in it, and they had their music for that.
Oh yeah, it was Final Round.
So godlike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like the character select music. We're like, what the hell is this, bro? Like, I kind of want to get that mix.
That mix was
it was so good.
That mix was OD. Like, it was Final Round. I don't remember which Final Round it was. Was it Final Round X? I don't remember. But oh my god, that was so good.
Yeah, it was 10 because was that my first Final Round? I think it was.
I think that was your first Final Round. I think that was my last. I think that was.
It wouldn't have been your last. No. I know it wouldn't be your last because I know a year or two later, you went when Soul Calibur 5 came out.
Oh yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
It was a couple of years after that. So
yeah, SF4. While that game in itself was a poop show, the SF4 like Shoryuken forums was just unreadable to me. It's just unreadable. It was funny though because when I went to final round and like people didn't recognize me because I was so young back when I was competing in Marvel or early Marvel. No, yeah, early Marvel. And then we were going back for the Soul Calibur. And they'd see my name tag and they're like, "Really? Is that the same person?" It's like, "Yeah, it's me. I'm old." It was funny though getting to see a lot of the people. It's funny because I go into like Justin's stream now and I'll talk to him and he'll just talk to me and he'll be like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, you don't even remember me, do you?" And he just like doesn't even say nothing. I'm like, "Okay, you will." Battle of the Strongest. I would love to. So a lot of, like I was just saying earlier in the stream, man, with my little one, my vacation, like I work weekends. So when I take vacation at work, that takes away vacation from the fam. So it's hard to get off, but I definitely want to. I know they have Null DC, which is where you can play Marvel 2 online and CVS 2 online. I am super interested in bopping fools. Or seeing the new heads tear me up. It'd be interesting. But I'm 100% interested.
I doubt that would happen.
Yeah. Integrated in Fight K2. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's integrated.
I watch that, bro.
CVS 2, I would probably get rocked in. And that's because in CVS 2, I could roll cancel, right? But I didn't. Like, I showed Arturo Sanchez how to roll cancel and Will Martin, rest in peace. I showed them how to roll cancel. Actually, no, I didn't. He knew how to roll cancel. Me and him showed Arturo how to roll cancel at game time. But I played P-Groove. And this game is advanced so far. I don't see me competing very much. I apologize, Chad. DC version has roll cancel. Yeah. So I don't
know, bro. If you can play Marvel 2, bro, I'd watch it.
Oh no, I would definitely want to play Marvel 2. I think Nick, if he's still on the channel, I don't know if he is or not. I'll play with him and Fumi and anybody I can play against in Marvel 2. I'm always down to play.
When I did that whole classic Marvel 2 thing, dude, I was all over that. Most people were. It was refreshing.
So the old Marvel 2, like when Yipes was throwing those tournaments, yeah, the Battle of the Strongest. They're so fun to watch, man. They're so fun to watch. God.
It was, dude, I'm surprised that many
people. Boss still plays?
Play Marvel 2 watched it. So.
The only thing that I'm. Not that I'm worried about. I don't know. Like. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I want to play, but then at the same time, it's like, I don't know if I still have it. He still streams CVS 2 constantly. That dude is so good. I never played against him. So when I played CVS 2 here, I won a lot of tournaments here, but anytime we traveled anywhere, Fumi, Renegade, and a couple of others from Virginia would do better. It was very weird because if they played here, I would beat them. But if we traveled, I would lose to out-of-towners constantly in CVS 2. I love the game, though. I love the game. I think the game is amazing for all its bustedness. Super fun. That's amazing, too. You love to see that because but see, he's always, like, Boss has always been the type that was always approachable. And that's what I like about a good player. If a good player is approachable and has a good attitude, they'll get my respect. I can't stand bad attitude players.
That was weird is like the way my fighting styles developed, especially in Tekken. Like a lot of people have asked me, like, "Oh, can you train me?" I'm like, not really, because the way my mind works, it's like my fighting style is based on something that you probably don't have and probably shouldn't have. And I'm it's not talking about like actual skill level. It's just like how you perceive things, like your emotion, like. I straight tell them like my fighting style is based on hatred. Like that's how I fight. Like I don't like teaching people that because there's a certain way you can make that work. So there was one time I think when me and Gamer went to CEO, there's this kid that was playing Jin, and he asked me something, and I don't know why, like I don't know what happened, but like I just started dropping stuff I knew,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't necessarily because he wasn't one of the ones that said, "Can you train me?" Because I'm like, usually when you train somebody, kind of a part of you like gets transferred over to them. It's how it works.
Well, yeah.
With him, it's more like I was teaching him tech and showing him stuff, but with how he fought, because he asked me, I was just kind of like giving him like tidbits of information. I didn't realize that Derek was watching me. He's like, I see you over there. It's like Sensei Vegeta. I'm like, damn it. Because I was teaching this dude for like 40 something minutes, but it just felt good to be able to like this guy was mind blown by some of the stuff. He's like, I didn't know you could do that. I was like, yeah. Like, it's just kind of like, I don't mind doing that stuff. Like it's kind of fun.
Yeah, sharing
Well, like-
information is it's fun if they're receptive and not smug about it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all in, you just got to feel it out. You got to feel the people you're playing with. Like that's
Yeah,
the
no,
main
he
thing.
was, I had that feel. Like he had that feel. Like he was just eager for like knowledge, and he wasn't like a douchebag or anything. He's like, oh my god, I want to know. I'm like, okay, all right, teach him a thing or two, and then.
Gamer says that's why he loves tournaments. I love tournaments. Here's what I love about tournaments and what I miss about tournaments. And this is when I knew that I had to hang it up when I did. I loved when beating someone, getting the acknowledgement that I'm better than that person. Is that weird? Like, after beating that person, they had to know that they lost. And that they lost to me. They can come up with whatever reason they want, and I can come up with whatever reason I want for losing. But at the end of the day, at that moment, I was better than that player. And I just wanted them to know it. I wasn't like smug about it, and I would say GG, and I meant it. But I wanted to be the better player. At the end of the day, I wanted to be the better player. I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about nothing. I just wanted to be acknowledged as the better player. Whenever I played an out-of-towner, Ricky Ortiz, Arturo Sanchez, when I beat Ricky Ortiz, Arturo brought me over in the corner. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, right? Ricky comes to game time. I beat Ricky. And Arturo had to come over and tell me, Ricky's tired. That's why you lost. Ricky's tired. I don't care why Ricky lost. The key word in there is the L. I wasn't rude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't beat a top player. Like I took it as like, you don't think I can beat a top player?
I mean,
Like-
you were awake enough to put in the quarters.
I mean, you didn't come there thinking you were going to beat me half awake, right? Smooth Viper. The names, man, the names. I miss Marvel 2 so much, man. There were so many people that were good at the game, that were cool, and then there was a lot of people that weren't. Ricky is awesome. I have no problems with Ricky Ortiz. I have no problems with Arturo. Just at the time, they were coming there to take our money, and losing to hometown was not expected. Now, Ricky went on to win the tournament. So Ricky won the tournament, just didn't beat me. I lost to other players. Yeah, Ricky's awesome. So, but the point is they didn't like losing, and they had to come up with a reason for it. But at the end of the day, at that point in time, I would never say that I was a better overall player than Ricky at Marvel 2, because I literally played Ricky's team. I went to ECC, which was called the East Coast Championships. The team that I played in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 at that time was Strider, Cable, Dr. Doom. That's what I was known for. On the Shoryuken forums, everywhere else, Cyber Ninja played Strider Doom. That was his team. I saw Ricky Ortiz play Spiral, Cable, Sentinel, right? At ECC. I went up to a cabinet. I was a few rounds in, and I went up to the cabinet, and the TO at the time was like, "Oh, this is Cyber Ninja. I can't wait for you to play that Strider Doom." Keep in mind, I'd already rinsed 3 or 4 people getting into this this point. But for some reason in the back of my head, I was thinking, great, this person just told him who I'm going to use, so now they're going to counterpick me. And back then, it was really easy to counterpick Strider Doom. Still is, really. It's funny because Red Eyes, me and Clockwork back in the day used to share information on Omega Red Strider Doom. We used to play that team, and we used to bounce information back and forth on Shoryuken. But anyway, so I switched to Spiral Cable Sentinel. I lost because I switched teams that I've never played before. But ever since that day, I dropped Strider Doom for Spiral Scent. And I beat Ricky. Strider Scent, Strider Scent. I mean, Spiral Scent, Spiral Scent. I mirror matched, and I won. That doesn't make me a better player overall, but I was better at that point. And that's all I want. If I'm at the sticks, I was better than that person at that match. You don't have to be the number one player in the world to beat that player at that time. And that's the type of player that I was. I want to be acknowledged, and you're going to have to if I beat you. And it was just insulting to me that not Ricky, but Alturo wanted to make an excuse for it. And I've never had a problem with Alturo. I've always been cool with him. But just at the time he come over to say that, and I'm like, really, dude? Like, you guys are still going to end up winning. But Ricky always traveled down. Ricky and Justin, all them, they came down to Game Time all the time, and I was always mad cool with them. But people didn't like it because they'd come there and they'd be that's the competition. Yeah, I just got to be better than you. 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5, whatever it may be. I just got to be better at that point in time. But Ricky's cool. Alturo's cool. Well, was. I haven't talked to him in 15 years or more. So I don't know. But when you get up on the sticks and you're playing, his BO is crucial. Oh no.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I remember the last time he was at what was that tournament that we had here? The one that we had at the Coliseum that one time or whatever.
Oh God, what was that tournament, guys?
Oh damn it! It was. Hold on, let me check my medal real quick. Hold on a second. Just want to put that out there.
Really, guys? Oh, really? No.
TCW, the Commonwealth.
The Commonwealth, yes.
He was sitting on my right, and he was talking to somebody that was on my left, and his breath was crucial. I'm like, I was literally, because I always eat these mints out of habit. I was so tempted to be like, dude, do you want one?
No.
It was awful. Yeah, he was musty as hell too. Like
this isn't the On Blast show, but that's On Blast. That's not.
I'm sorry, but I was not.
Oh.
Yeah, he was. It was pretty heavy.
That's
onion slurpee. Yes,
he did. He said onion slurpee, man. Oh, stop, chat. Stop. Let's talk about something else. Onion slurpee. God dang. I'm out of drink too, so I can't even chew it down. That's nasty. You nasty. So yeah, so for me, when I used to compete, so when I went to I've told this story before. I'll tell it again. When I went to South Carolina to compete, a lot of the guys in South Carolina did not know what I looked like. I don't know why they did. Like on Shoryuken, my profile picture wasn't my face, but we didn't travel to. This was in Columbia, South Carolina. We didn't travel there before, like Florida, Jersey, Philly, anywhere up and down the East Coast, really. But we had never been to Columbia, South Carolina. So we went to Columbia, South Carolina, and it was the top 3. And when I went to play against the opponent, I picked Dan. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I picked Venom. I picked Venom Sentinel. And I didn't care whether I won or lost. I just wanted to do a combo with that character so the crowd would be in awe. And at that point, I cared more about the fame for doing a cool combo than beating my opponent because I didn't respect him. And he ended up beating me. And Fumi was on the cabinet standing next to me. For those who don't know, that was the 1 and 2 punch combo for Southern Virginia. And he looked at me and he said, "Don't lose to this guy." He looked me right in the face, right? So
I can hear him say it in his voice too. It was like, "Yep."
I'm on player 2, right? So I'm looking if you're the monitor, right? So I'm looking at my webcam. Welcome back, Neo. To the right of me was this guy, and I beat him. No, I didn't. I played Venom Sentinel, and Fumi was right beside me, and he's got his back up against the cabinet. So he's got his back against the cabinet, and he's looking at me like this, and he's like, "Don't effing lose to this guy." And that was their number 1 guy in Columbia. And I'm like, whatever, dude, I got this, right? So I picked Venom Sentinel, and I landed the cool combo, but I lost. And after I lost, Fumi was like, "Pick your real team." And I was like, "No, I got this." And then I picked Dan. And I lost. And the crowd was absolutely they should have been. At the time, I was a top player. And at the time, that was their top player. And he beat me. It's not like I could be like I should have used my real team, because I didn't. But more importantly, I didn't care. I didn't care. I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about the victory. And that's when I stepped away. I was like, if I don't care anymore, why am I still here? Fumi went on to win the tournament, and I knew he would. I knew we didn't have a chance at losing there. Dude, I showed up there. So I'm not a toxic person, right? I'm not a toxic person, but I do like to play games. I showed up there, and when no one realized who I was, I went to the GameStop there and bought an MVC2 strategy guide. Went back to the cabinet and placed it on the machine while I was playing in the tournament, pretending like I didn't know what I was doing. This is facts. I put the strategy guide on the machine, right? I asked my opponent who was good at the game. I'm such a dirtbag, right?
Oh, it's fucked up, man.
And he told me he purposely, yeah, it was that tournament, Gamer. Were you there? I think you were. And he was like, "Oh, Mega Man's good." Okay, I'm picking Mega Man. I forget who he told me to pick. It was Mega Man. It was no top tiers, but it wasn't bad players. But it was like Mega Man. Was it all Capcom characters? I think he did tell me to pick Captain Commando. It doesn't even. Oh, it was Colossus, and I beat him. And at that point, they knew who I was, and I felt bad. Oh, when y'all got back, yeah, because I got there and they didn't recognize me, right? So I'm like, wait, these guys don't know who I am? Like, they knew the name and the brackets, right? But they didn't know who I was. So I purposely stayed close to the TO so that way he wouldn't yell my name, right? So I'm like, when am I up again? And they're like, "Oh, you're up in 3 matches or whatever." I'm like, "All right, cool, I'll be right back." And that's when I went over to GameStop and I found the strategy guide. And I'm like, "Oh, this is too good." So I bought the strategy guide and I went back there and I acted like I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, it is a strategy if you think about it. Man, that was the last tournament. After that, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And I entered the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 tournament at final round with Marvin that one year. And I entered one here locally, and I lost to Fumi and Nick, who was in the chat. Which, by the way, he got lucky. I'm just throwing that out there. Wouldn't happen again. Just throwing that out there. But I was like, yeah, I shouldn't be competing. I shouldn't be spending money to travel if I don't care about winning or winning the money. I can do combos anywhere. So that's when I stopped playing Marvel.
So, I mean, I still travel, but I never really, I don't ever really fight for the money itself. I never did.
Yeah,
In fact,
usually
like, the
when
first tournament I actually won was the what was it? Remember when before we had that big tournament where I did that crazy shit in Marvel? Like we had the 4 or 5 month hiatus, and then when we were just playing at F&G and we're leveling up so much but not noticing it. So went to a Greenbrier tournament. It was that whole weekend they had a tournament like every day that week. It was a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And the Friday tournament at Greenbrier I actually won. I had to work and I just went up there to watch. And I'm like, Leonard, I got some time, and I actually won it. I walked out and they ran me down like, dude, you forgot your prize money. I'm like, oh, like I didn't care about that.
right.
It's the same thing. Like it doesn't matter where I place or anything. I keep forgetting I'm getting money, or I just don't give a crap. Like
God,
it's a given and extra, but I fight for other reasons.
does it make me
Each their own, I
toxic
guess.
if I took my winnings at Greenbrier and threw them on the floor? God, I sound toxic.
You're probably a primitive troll. That's what that was.
So it was different times. So granted, vanilla MVC3 was rough. So I played MVC3 when it first came out, and I went to maybe it was Blackula's house, and I played it against a bunch of people there, and they were doing strats that I didn't know existed. And those players were so interested in beating Cyber Ninja that they were not interested in sharing information. So they were so happy to be beating me at a Marvel series that it just wasn't even remotely fun. And I didn't have the desire to get better to beat them. So I didn't play any more
but I
Marvel
mean,
3.
it's not that's like me being like, oh, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you in MK11 because I couldn't beat you in MK3. That's not the same.
Yeah. So I didn't play anymore after that. It was very non-comfortable for me. And I wanted to make sure I didn't make it that way for other people, but that's how it was for me.
Oh,
But
don't worry though. Don't worry. I got him back because you remember the one time I went to Blacklist and I baited them into playing MK2 first. And then they were like, "Oh, let's play a real game." And then they
my
were playing MK2,
kids are freaking out.
What?
My kids are freaking out in the living room. Go ahead and finish your chat. Go ahead. I'll be right back.
I was just saying. I was like, I mopped them all up. And I called you, like, yo, I gave everybody a doll. You're like, good. Yeah. Marvel 3 was busted, though, man. Busted, chat. Especially when me and Cyber figured out early on, if you didn't play Sentinel in Marvel 3 Vanilla, you didn't win.
Sorry.
I don't know, Neo, man. You should get in a fighting game. I seen your Fortnite. You could learn some stuff.
Oh, you're talking about Neo? He could. Yeah, as far as
I'm not into fighting games. I'm like, you should be.
as far as you getting playing Parsec and playing Illyri, Illyri's a good kid. I haven't talked to him in a long time. Illyri's a good dude. So I'll tell you the Greenbrier story real quick. And then yeah, I think Neo could be good at fighting games. I mean, he's got a horrible teacher in his dad, but if he wanted to sit down and learn, I could teach him. But no. So Greenbrier Mall, and this is why I said earlier in the podcast, Greenbrier Mall had 0 good players. And I mean that. Look, if you can name a player that came from there, if you can name a player that came from Greenbrier that was notable, I retract my statement. It's not going to happen. So, Greenbrier Mall had an arcade for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. All right? Their Marvel vs. Capcom.
High.
Yeah, they set the damage all the way up. Okay? So they had this tournament. No, they didn't. That's the problem. They had people. They did have people. They had locals. They just weren't good. But they talked a lot of trash and thought they were good. So the TO, yeah, Lil Mike was their hero, Cornell, and he's trash.
Did I beat that guy too? I don't remember.
how malls had teams? Neo. Neo. If your pops was on this call right now, oh, the eye opener that you would have. We're going to have that podcast. It's going to happen. I just got to get him in the mood so when he gets on here, he can actually chat and not just talk about Gunfire Reborn. Anyway, so Greenbrier Mall had this tournament. They had the damage turned all the way up. And I knew without a doubt me and Fumi were going to win this tournament because that's not an ego. We traveled this local area. We were the kings of the cul-de-sac and no one was even close. Okay. So we knew we were going to win, but they had the damage all the way up. So now Fumi was like, well, I'm just going to play Juggernaut. He's like, I'm going to play Juggernaut and Ken.
God, that is messed up, dude.
Right? And so I'm like, well, I'm going to play Strider Doom because one Strider Doom trap, you're dead. It was just the dumbest thing you could possibly do. Right? So the tournament is running till 9:00 and they're like, okay, well, you guys have to come back tomorrow to finish the tournament. And I'm like, dude, you can't expect a lot of these people to come back tomorrow. You know, it's just stupid. Anyway, we got into a huge argument. Then I was like, you know what? I'm coming back anyway. I'm coming back. So me and Fumi came back and Little Mike, imagine that, Little Mike. So Fumi loses to Little Mike playing Juggernaut and Ken. Little Mike was playing a real top tier team and beats him. So then I beat Little Mike. After that, they're like, okay, well, now you have to play. There was like some other dude's name and he wasn't there because it was the next day. So they were like, we're just going to let Little Mike take his place. And I'm like, no, what? I've already beat him. He doesn't get to play me again. Right? So they're like, oh, no. He's just stepping in for him. I'm like, no. I've already beat him. Like, we just finished this match. I'm not playing him again. I wasn't afraid to. It was just the point. So of course, Little Mike was like, "Oh, you're scared." He talks a lot of trash, which is fine. We're cool. I'm super cool with Mike. I don't have any issues with him. And so I was like, "Okay, I'll play you in another 1-3 or whatever." So I end up, I lost he ends up beating me in a 1-3. And he goes, well, I just won the tournament. And I'm like, no, you didn't, dude. It's grand finals. You got to beat me again. If we're in the finals now, I've already beat you, you shouldn't even be here, but now you have to beat me twice. Like, I don't understand how I'm having to beat you twice, but you beating me once means you win the tournament. Right? So he goes, okay, fine. And the TO was like, no. That means he wins. And he's like going through so I literally make him, So I make him show me the brackets. This same guy said Felicia had an Akuma Hellmurder. So whatever. So he brings me the brackets and I'm like, okay, this is a double elimination tournament. Okay. I've already beat this dude. He was already out of the tournament. You let him come back. And now you're telling me he only has to beat me once? Like, that's not how I have to lose twice, dude. And I only lost once. So he's like, okay, fine, you can play again. Okay. So this time I played my real team and destroyed him, right? So after I destroyed him, I'm like, okay, I'm done. He goes, okay, fine, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Brings me a bag. In this bag is $25 worth of tokens. And a Namco arcade, Namco museum, the Dreamcast museum where it has all the Namco games on it. And I looked at him and I was like, oh, you get your name on a plaque. You also get your name on a plaque that was supposed to go up on the wall. And I was like, the only way I'm ever coming back in your arcade is to see my name on your on your wall, my name on your wall. I said, as far as these tokens go, and I threw them on the floor for everybody to have. And I was like, but I'm keeping the game. And I walked out. So stupid, man. That guy was so bad. It was so
It's
bad.
not really being toxic, though. That's more of like...
Well, me and him got into an argument.
Some sort of form of justice, man.
Well, the thing was, so a little bit of backstory. On that Saturday, I told him to turn the damage down. He told me it was default. Right?
Hell nah.
I already told him, I was like, dude, I work at Fun and Games. this is not default. Let's reset the machine, cut on the BIOS, and we can literally see that it's not default. We can reset it to default settings. He wouldn't do it. And then he's the one that said during that tournament, somebody was playing Felicia, and he goes, do Felicia's Hell Murder. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, her secret attack where she jumps on you and kills you. Dude, that move does not exist. And he's like, no, I've seen it. There's no effing way you've seen this move, dude. It doesn't exist. So this is the TO I was dealing with. And when Fumi lost to Lil Mike, I don't remember who put him out. Oh, it was me.
Messed up, dude.
Oh. No, I mean, because Lil Mike beat me with his second round, so then I had to go in the loser's bracket. So then I had to play Fumi, and I beat Fumi. But yeah, I just took the tokens. I'm like, I'm never coming back here again, dude, and just threw them on the floor. It was just crazy. Oh, no, Omega. This was before he would work there. This is before he worked there. This is before DDR and all that. No, it was a white dude. Yeah, and the funny thing was is that they never put my name on a plaque. Shocker. They didn't put my name on a plaque. Even though that was supposed to be in the thing, I just wanted my name up there. They had a list of champions of games. F&G scum. They had a list of names of the games that they were the champions in, and MVC2 was always blank after that day. He never got me a plate made. Yeah, Lil Mike was his golden boy. That's who was gonna. But to be fair, if you're gonna name good players that came from there, you would say Lil Mike. But I would just say to you, just because he's the better player there doesn't make him a good player.
Yep.
Because he wasn't a good player. He had knowledge of the game, and he could beat Mall Scrubs. Congratulations. You're above Mall Scrub. Virtual On was a good game, though. No name of the wall for this dude. That's fine. I didn't really want it there anyway. It means I went there. I didn't want to be known for going there. They did me a favor. Shortly after that arcade got completely revamped. The bald Derek that they were talking about worked there. He's a really cool dude. I never had any issues with him. He got cats from me. Aladdin's Castle was a weird place because they always had players and they always had the new games. But like I said before, you couldn't find, there wasn't a camaraderie of people there. It wasn't like Putt Putt, F&G, and Coliseum. It was just people. There was no unity. It was very weird. You'd go there and you'd see different players, but they would never talk with each other.
Mm.
He does still do stand-up, Omega. He does stand-up, and he works... last I heard, he worked at Busch Gardens. I don't know if he still does or not. Well, obviously not right now, because they're kind of shut down, but... Yep. And I think the cats that I gave him even ended up having kittens. The DDR peeps at Aladdin's Castle were cool. At least what I knew of them. They used to come to F&G a lot. They came to F&G a lot. I knew nobody at Initial D. So in the Initial D squad, I don't want to say anything ill about any of the people there. I had to choke a dude out once. But...
What?
Yeah, I had to choke a dude out once. But the Initial D players, I never knew. There was one guy that worked at GameStop. There was one guy that worked at GameStop that eventually got an Evo and actually tricked it out Initial D style. So no, there was a guy in there. It was at Fun and Games, and there was a guy that used to come in Fun and Games named Preston. And
wait. Preston? You talking about dude that used to come in there all the time with glasses?
Yeah. Yeah, he played Initial D all the time. I didn't choke him out. It was some random dude.
Okay, damn.
No, the guy was playing Initial D, and Preston went over there and put his card in to play against him. And the dude got livid. and actually started like getting up in Preston's face. And so Milton was there. And so I got up and I went up behind the guy and grabbed the guy by the neck and threw him out of the arcade. Told him if he came back in, I was going to call the cops. Preston was like, man, that guy was going to fight me. I'm like, he won't go do nothing, man. He won't go do nothing. Not with me and Milton
Yeah,
here.
well, Preston and me are not on good terms.
Oh, no. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I don't like Preston, so it's all good.
Yeah, after he, well, I was okay with him until I found out some crap he did behind my back that he doesn't know I know, but.
Yeah, I'm not cool with him, though.
So, yeah, I was like, okay. He should have got knocked out. But anyway, whatever.
Imagine picking the 85 when he picked 86.
I only ever almost got into a fight with somebody FNG one time, but that was the one time you guys kept me from doing it. That was it.
The DDR players were all cool. I never had any issues with any DDR player. I had issues with DDR player smells, but I never had any issues with DDR players. When I met John, aka Neo Xian Wu, he was a DDR player. DDR player smells were different. They were different.
Especially when I had to walk by it. You had to walk by the DDR machine to get out.
Dude, there was one like girl that came in there all the time to play. She was super cool, but I think it was against her religion to wear deodorant. And I'm not talking ill about it. But
I know who you're talking about. I know.
Super cool. I have no issues with her, but she was not a fond of Secret. And that was
I know her name too, but I ain't gonna drop it in here.
Yeah.
She's cool, but yeah, I was like, yeah.
Nick is still here, so he, when I told him I'd body him in Marvel and he didn't say nothing, he must have just knew that was facts. I thoroughly enjoyed playing DDR. He said I went to Wendy's to get dinner. What'd you get, man? What'd you get? I haven't been to Wendy's in a hot minute. I like Wendy's. DDR, though, that's pretty good. I thoroughly enjoyed DDR. Is it weird that I couldn't play the easy modes of DDR? I could only play the hard. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about AAAing or perfecting songs. I was never that good. What I'm saying is I couldn't play the game on easy levels. I had to play on the harder ones. It was like reverse, dyslexia. Like, I couldn't make the steps on easy mode. I would always miss. But if I played on hard mode, that'd be fine. The hardest song I ever beat in DDR was Max 300. Now, I know Nick's going to be like, ha, 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 Max 300, ha. But it was a hard song back then.
I used to watch you and Neo do that shit all the time.
I did. I enjoyed it. My calves were, in shape too. Usually, though, it was like, I don't know, it was weird. It shows you how out of shape you are. I loved Orion 79, though. Is it weird that I still like a lot of those songs? Like, those songs still hold up. A lot of the major songs.
I think one of my favorite songs was, I forgot what version of DDR it was. They had it at PAGG. But they had the theme from Silent Hill 3. I'm like, yo, what?
Yes.
I played just for that.
Yeah. DDR music's good, man. Like, people, I don't know, it was weird. The arcade, I mean, from the kids that would come in to laugh to the ones that come in to play, I've seen them all. But that game, while it doesn't really teach you how to dance, it was not a bad community. Like, if people have stories about stuff like what's going on with the Smash community, I don't know about those because I didn't hang out with those. But when they came to the arcade, DDR players were respectful of the arcade. They were respectful of the pads. They didn't want to destroy the machine because they knew how hard it was to get fixed. And most of the time they respected each other and didn't try to jump on the pads when they were playing with each other and things like that. So I didn't have a problem with the DDR community. Archon went to bed. He wasn't going to get on here and talk. See, that's what I'm saying, Neo. That man's got stories too.
stories, since I was just happened to look at Omega's name, I remember for an entire year, we were trying to get you with like what, and we couldn't do it. And out of all of us that tried in
Oh
the
yeah, it was
most
Omega.
scummy ways, Omega's the one that got you the one time you weren't paying attention, and we were like, "Damn it!"
Yep, that's facts. That's facts.
And then I only managed. It's like it only works when you're in crisis or not paying attention. Because I remember we're out looking for your cat at 3 in the morning because Neil let it out on accident.
Yeah.
I happened to catch you on that one too. I was like, yeah, I understand we're looking for cat, but
You got to hold that L when you got to hold it, right? So Nick, yeah, I know Nick does a good job on his Facebook of trying to out those pieces of trash too. So keep up the good fight, man. But yeah, so my fighting game or arcade experience spans literally decades. Isn't that crazy? Like 30 years. Oh. I'm so old, chat. And here I am trying to compete with these 5-year-olds in Fortnite. It just don't work.
yeah, it does. It's all in the mind. I don't believe in that old crap. You just have different life, different lifestyle. That's what it is. Your body may age, but your mind really doesn't in a way.
Well, the thing is like I know what, like, in the games nowadays, what I'd have to do to get to that level that they are. And I know where I would have to put my mindset to get there. And a game just hasn't really put me there. Like, honestly, I was really close to like trying to go pro in Fortnite. Like, I really wanted to make it a thing because the money's there, the views are there. But I lost interest when no one else wanted to do it with me. It's so weird. Like, I need that person. I need that rival. I need that person to push me. And when there's nobody else there, I just don't care.
I found other ways to cope with that because, I mean, to be honest, like a lot of my rivalries, like they actually end up doing other stuff or lose interest or something. So it's in that respect, I'm kind of glad I kind of grew beyond just that as a motivation because, like, dude, right now in that regard, I don't really think I have anybody that can. People are like, "Oh, I'll be your rival." I'm like, that's not how it works. It
Yeah, no, it just happens. Like, for me, for Marvel 2, it became Fumi. And we literally rivaled each other to. It's so weird, man. Like, I can't explain the amount of time that we put in to want to beat each other and how much that excelled us to be that much better than the people we played against. And we only played against each other to get better because there was nobody else to play against. So we would make our area better by trying to constantly be better than each other. So by default, everyone around us got better. But like when it came down to hardcore training, we would literally just play each other for hours in training mode and then go to putt and try the stuff we learned on a person to see if it would work. It was just weird. It was just a different time.
And for me, I'd say I sort of had 3 total.
I would love to, Nick.
Not from the state, but 100%. There's 2 of them, and that's sort of Dios and then Neo. Like those were the only 2 that I like. I had such motivation to be like, I gotta be better than this person, or I gotta keep up, or whatever it was. It wasn't the toxic kind, but just kind of like it was rooted in pride or whatever. Yeah, we just played together. It wasn't like I gotta outdo this dude to make him look bad. No, I just wanted to fight him. Like,
Right.
For me, it was those 2. Like, it just kind of ended up that way.
And Nick says, you, Fumi, SMP, and Brandon all formed my play, honestly. Brandon mostly. Neo, your episode would literally be Fortnite. Your episode would be like, I remember playing Fortnite season 1 before there was a season.
Oh, so do I. Oh, dude, that's Cyber the other day when I was messing around in Battle Lab. There's some dudes in there that were getting pissed because I guess somebody was running up on them and throwing like enemy bots, and I'm like, sounds like something I do. I'm like, I guess I need to load up and go over there and help out.
Oh my god.
They were complaining. He's like, man, I would beat this kid 1-on-1 and blah blah blah. And he was getting real irate. He's like, I've been playing this in season 2. I would wreck this kid. And I'm thinking in my head, bro, season 2, those are rookie numbers, bro. I've been playing before we even had seasons. Like, don't. And then they tried to kill me because they thought it was me doing all this stuff. I'm like, usually it'd be right, but not this time. So I ended up waxing them all. I'm like, you want to sit there and like talk trash and go up to the wrong person?
Hey, good night, Jared. You do the same. I'll be streaming tomorrow if you'll be around.
I don't know though, bro. I see Neo play. I could probably get there, but right now he's a monster when it comes to Fortnite.
So
So how
yeah, so in Fortnite, the 3 that is really good at the game is Neo, Corndog Uzi, aka Hawk, and Roman. They really are monsters, and I do think that they could place if they really wanted to play competitively, and that's why I'm like, man, I'd love to be there. The Phoenix, Roman, and Corndog, yeah, those 3. I would say after those 3 in our crew that play, constantly. Obviously, I've gotten a lot better, but I know where my limits are. And here's the thing, right? It's so weird because people don't understand. If you play me on a controller in a Street Fighter game, it's as if I've never played the game before because I'm really bad on controller. I cannot stress how bad I am with a controller. Like, I cannot stress this. So when I'm playing Fortnite on controller, people don't realize that I am actually 10 to 20 times better if I played on keyboard and mouse. I just don't have the patience to learn the building mechanics on the keyboard. That's literally it.
Yeah, I realized I played Fortnite. I played Fortnite for fun because I was getting to the point where I was getting really good, but I just
Doesn't
know
Tilter
where my
play the hell out of
limit is.
Fortnite? Tilter, I don't know who Tilter is. Who's Tilter?
I mean, I know where my limits are, but I choose not to break them because I don't care enough.
I wanted to. It was
In Fortnite, anyway.
season 9 and chapter 1, season 1. I wanted to play competitively.
Meanwhile, over in the Apex world, me and say like, okay, the team I run with now, there's one. I got to put this video up, but there's one Apex Fred squad we ran across, and we destroyed them. In like, it wasn't even a fight; it was straight assassination. Like, but then like me and Seiko will play with a random, and we're like, oh man, we got to get better, et cetera, et cetera. And then we just play duos when it's just us two, and we just crush everybody. And I'm like, yeah. When I get the chance to compete in this, I think I might actually do it, and it might just be me playing Apex and Tekken.
Right.
Because I love that game so much. Like, I've gotten so good on it, and I'm still using a normal pad and normal controls. If I get a keyboard and mouse or finally convert over or get a SCUF controller, they're all done. I'm a monster now, and I'm handicapped. Same thing with Seiko. This is his first FPS game. And he's basically my equal at this point. Like, he's crazy. Yeah, again, it's really about what you want to do though, because I feel anybody can do anything like that. It's just, are you motivated and dedicated enough to actually do it is the key.
Y'all ain't ready for the Cyber Ninja.
I need a mask like that. Huh. Now, Fortnite is my stress reliever game. I play it to troll, or because it's like animated.
Gray beard here. Why you got to point that out, Nick? Why you got to be negative? Human smoke. So I got this at Dragon Con for $20. It's pretty well made. It's not bad. $20. The guy was selling it for 50, and I talked him down to 20.
Yeah, I got my Predator mask and my Bleach mask, the hollow mask. I got this from Otakon though.
What's up, Marcus? Yeah, I need to get a stick for PC. I actually wanted to play Tekken. Actually, I think Tekken recognizes the Ori. I think it does. But the Street Fighter and the Killer Instinct, yes, I said Killer Instinct, games do not recognize these sticks. So I need to get a different stick for PC.
Wow.
You need a new car, come haggle for you. I love KI. KI, the original, is one of the games that I was mad good at, but DualShock 4 for Windows or Brookboard. KI is super fun. It's actually this KI is not bad. It was on Xbox only. It kind of shot itself in the foot.
I read I saw the documentary on why it was that way. I mean, if it wasn't on Xbox only, it never would have existed.
Yeah, I understand that too, but okay, the game failed. So yeah, that's what I have it on PC as well, Red Eyes. But I have the free version, so I play whatever character's out that week.
I actually had the actual thing. The game was actually really, really good. The netcode was godlike too. Like sometimes I forget I'm playing online. Like when it first came out.
Oh, Xbox! I didn't think about that Game Pass.
I wish the game would have taken off more because that game was actually really good. It was really well done.
I listen to the soundtrack every single day.
The OST,
every
the OST
day.
For like every KI has been so good.
It has. Well, Mick Gordon is amazing. Deluxe is part of it.
Played basically the same characters. Let's see. In the first one, I played Orchid and Cinder. In the second one, I just played Orchid, and then this KI, I played Orchid and Maya.
I don't know who I'd play in this. I think I'd play Kilgore. I think Kilgore looks pretty good. So, new Battletoads on August 20th. I saw a preview of that. Does that game actually look good though? Like,
I don't know. I saw it, and it's
because they remade Turtles in Time, and it was awful.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw the footage I saw of it. I'm like, I don't know.
Let's see here. Let's go
it's
here.
Like overly cel shaded and animated, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be like kind of animated, but not in that type of style.
Let's see this real quick. Let's see this real quick. All right, chat. Rare presents. It's not the same company. Like Rare's name still exists, but all the people that actually work for Rare work for a mobile company now. All right, so let's see here.
Just say it was going to destroy us? Who would want to destroy you? You've got the most amazing shape.
Intense beat 'em up action. I mean, I have Streets of Rage 4, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So
I still haven't got mine yet, but apparently it's not coming until September because I got one of those special edition physical copies or whatever. Like everybody be done by then.
So this game looks fun, but that's not what Battletoads was. Battletoads wasn't fun. Battletoads was absolute hell.
It was hell, and it was more like a mature theme too. It wasn't for kids, really. It doesn't remind me. It looks way too like Nickelodeon. Fuck all that.
One of 1,000 phrases.
Things are about to get very, very dark.
Oh yeah, yum yum time.
Yeah, Jogamaro, but I ordered mine right from them, and it hadn't got mailed to me yet. And they sent me an email too, talking about for whatever reason, the case or something I had, some crap like that. It's the same thing that happened when we got what was that game? The other one that I ordered from that same company. God, why can't I think of the name now? We played. It's got the two chicks in it. Same thing. It got delayed a little bit for us.
The two chicks in it.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't think of the name right now. It's so strange. It was kind of a, what was it? And I use Makoto, and then there's the other one that has like a, just like kind of blue and white color scheme. I don't know. I can't think of it now. But yeah, same deal. I got it. Came a little later because I got mine for Switch.
Oh, I might look into that. So Red Eyes, I might look into Game Pass as well. To putting pants on her. I mean, it's 4chan, right? But at the same time,
well, I mean, the Dark Queen she did look a certain way. I was like, yeah, she looked like Jade or Katana or something, but wearing black,
yeah.
like in the old games. That was her
So,
whole point.
right.
She looked like that, but whatever.
I'm for that salt. I mean, I look at it this way. To make a game now.
Yeah, Bryce, too sensitive.
Yeah. So in that case, why even remake the game? Like a game that had mature overtones, but it's going to sell.
Yeah, I don't know. Looking at it the way it is, I'm just not interested that much.
So what do you guys think the next big fighting game is going to be? What do you guys think, chat? What do you think the next big fighting game is going to be? Because right now, Street Fighter V is going to have another season all the way through to next year because God only knows why.
I'm not sure, man.
Tekken's got another season coming out, so we're not getting any new versions of those games announced anytime soon. Soul Calibur's even getting another battle pass, right?
Sort of, yeah. They're finishing their battle pass. They're still in season 2 to announce, and then season 2's done. We just got Setsuka like Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
MK is in this weird place right now where people are just kind of like, because there's no tournaments to grind for, they're realizing how much fun it wasn't.
Well, here's the thing with MK, right? Those games come out strong and then they die hard. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what they bring out. The game is just, once it's dead, the community just dies. Like they literally just stop playing it.
Yeah, it'd probably be like Injustice 3 or something that they always does that. They alternate.
Them fighting herds. I mean, yeah.
But
so I wouldn't mind seeing Marvel 3 make a comeback. Do what?
Marvel 3.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Marvel 3 comeback. So Marvel 3 was actually like, even though I didn't play it, I loved watching it. I loved watching Marvel 3. Marvel 3, watching it was so great. But Marvel Infinite, oh, that game can just go to hell.
That game was awful, dude.
That game was really bad.
The first major it was ever at, I think I watched one match and then nobody cared. Like it was that bad.
After I saw the first tournament for, I'm terrible at Marvel 3 too, Nick. I'm awful at that game. It is just ridiculous. But the first time I played Marvel Infinite, I was like, man, this game is awesome. I didn't care that the roster was bad. I was so hyped for the MCU characters over the original Marvel characters. I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is great. So I'm playing it. I'm like, this game is great. And I don't know why I'm typing because you don't play a game that way. But I'm like, this game is awesome, right? I saw the first tournament and I said, I never want to see this game again.
Nobody ever did. It died after like the first tournament, dude. It was awful.
They had a big issue because someone was using auto combos.
What?
The new Guilty Gear looks okay.
I don't know if it's going to be the next huge game, though. I'm trying to think because it's like, what could they possibly... Even when you think about it, like, aside from Tekken, a lot of the new games they come out with for the next in the series, I'll be honest, like, I understand they want to do more accessibility so scrubs can play it, but they're not going to play it for that long. So, like,
right.
They end up killing themselves off at the end of the game's life because it's so simplified and, like, mechanicky that the advanced players just kind of like, they're like, I don't feel like playing this.
See, I think Dragon Ball FighterZ is a beautiful game, but man, I don't like the way it plays. Which is weird, right? Because it plays like Marvel a little bit, but I just don't like it.
In a way, I've tried to get into it a bunch of times, and it's Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball, but like, I think after the whole season 1 and 16 debacle, I just kind of like, it put me off a little bit, and then I just kind of never really got back on.
It's not like Marvel don't say mean things like that.
But yeah, I can't think of one, man. Like I don't know. I think the strongest game as far as fighters right now is concerned is probably Tekken.
I would agree with that statement. I feel like,
however, I will say this: it's getting the state of the game right now. We're just kind of like, okay, dude, like it's the It's like Dragon Ball. They keep power scaling it to the point where now it's like I'm sick of getting hit one time and dying. Like this is not Marvel. So it's the point now where a lot of people saying it's tag 2 without the tag button.
Yeah.
Because season 1 we thought was the best one, and then like maybe a little season 2, but now it's like, why am I like busting ass to win when this dude can just magic for me for 80 damage?
Do you think that Tekken should implement the same thing Street Fighter does, and where different characters should have different health boxes and different damage output?
I think if they're gonna have if they have 2D characters in it like they do, I think they probably should. Because that's the start of what changed everything, man. Like when you have a Kuma and Geese in there, and usually like Kuma in like Street Fighter, he's a glass cannon. He'll do all that damage, but if you touch him, he's dead. Like that's his drawback. That's his weakness. Tekken, he's got the same health as everybody else, but he can kill me. Like, yeah, that's not really, I don't know, I think
That's what I'm
maybe
saying. Like, but
something
think about it though. Like,
more-
so if Julia, Magic Fours you, she can't do half your life if she's considered a pixie, and she will die faster as well. You don't think that would balance some of the things out?
Maybe not in this version of the game because of how it's established already. But if we get into Tekken 8, if they have something that deals with something like that, I mean, it kind of did already.
Take for instance
just not
though.
directly with health.
Yeah, but like take for instance Akuma, right? If he was a glass cannon, wouldn't that make him more of a high risk, high reward instead of just dominant?
Yeah.
Like the only thing that people could argue with him being a glass cannon is he wouldn't build his meter fast enough. But they can fix that too, right?
Whatever the definition of fix is. But yeah, I don't know. I think for this game it's too late. They just kind of have to run with what they got. I mean, it's like 5 years into it. There's nothing. The mechanics are just there. But I think if they come out with Tekken 8, they need to do something to where some kind of contingency where it'll inadvertently balance out somebody that's like way too OD. Because that seems to be happening a lot lately, especially the whole Leroy debacle we won't talk about.
I think the problem with fighting games now is they're not sellable. And what I mean by that is the average player of a fighting game will make someone that's new to the game look stupid. It will destroy a button masher. And in a game, in a world where everything is online and fighting games require such precision online, that only the elite of the elite, which is one speck of sand on a beach, will continue to play the game. The rest of the beach is going to move on to another game. And it's hard for a company to sell to investors a game that doesn't sell. So if it doesn't sell, they can't create a game that's actually worthy of top players. So they have to create a game that gives the casual player the opportunity to still compete. Meanwhile, the top players will still find a way to exploit said comeback mechanic or rage or characters that are dominant. And so that will effectively make the game a good esport for like, you got 5-6 months tops. You got 1 year of a tour and then the game's dead. Anything you do after that in a fighting game is worthless. It's gonna appease 1% of the population. The rest of, get maybe one person to come back and play. Otherwise, no one's picking up the game anymore, and they're just dead.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I mean, that's just
It's also it's also mindset these days, man, because people are scrubs. Let's put it that way. Unmotivated and lazy.
Well, the thing with fighting games playing for fun, Omega, is that the fun part of fighting games, and I can't stress this enough, the fun part of fighting games wasn't the game. It's who you were playing with. The fun part about fighting games was the company you kept. If you're playing online, if you're not playing with people you already know, you either have the mic muted.
Yeah, it's all toxic.
Right. You either mute the mic, or you're just playing people who are either A, better than you, or people that aren't giving you a challenge. Apparently, Seth Killian did research on a one-button win mechanic in a fighting game. You definitely have to play better people to get good, but so when I say the 1% is a speck of sand on a beach, the vast majority of those other players don't want to get good. They want to play their character they like. And if they don't have a good character that they're picking up, or if the character that they play has got complicated moves, they're going to button mash. And when they lose for the 30th time in a row, they're just not going to pick up the game anymore.
Well, there's one game that had a lot of potential. I actually got excited for and played a little bit, but the problem is the timing before it actually could take off. COVID ruined that shit. It was Grand Blue.
Grand Blue?
Me and Gamer
Yeah.
played that a bunch, and it's kind of, I mean, it couldn't go anywhere. Everything got canceled and all that. So that
I think that's
killed it off.
Yeah, I think that's where the balance and the problem lies, Red Eyes, is that how accessible is too accessible. That's kind of the problem they have with other games where they talk about controller having aim assist and it being too strong. Like, there definitely needs to be a mechanic for the casual player. I agree, but how do you give it to the casual player and not let the top player exploit it? You know what I mean? That's like the biggest issue I have. How do you make the casual player better and not allow the top player to exploit it?
Only way to do that is a hard coding, like based on your level or skill or something.
SF5's biggest flaw is V-Trigger, right? Sure, the game has problems, but its biggest problem is V-Trigger. So because of this, you have to design a character around it. And if their V-Trigger is trash, guess what? They're probably trash. But at the same time, a top player will take a character with a good V-Trigger and make that character super good. And then you're going to play that person. And if you're a decent player and you get them down to low health, they're just going to pop V-Trigger and destroy you. And the thing is like, why is Alex so bad? It's so bad. The top got to a point where they don't have to have a full-time job outside of the game and can actually do train stuff. Yeah. I mean,
you know where they started though, right? Like they started like most other people, and then eventually got to the point where they could make it their job.
They did, and the grind is definitely rewarded for this, but at the same time, that makes it to where new players can't get involved. So when a new season comes out, the whole point of a new season is to keep a breath of life in the game, but it's also to draw in somebody who hasn't been playing the game prior. The problem with that is that when they buy the game, they're going to jump in and they're going to get trashed, and then they're going to stop playing it. Game doesn't grow. It is really difficult to get over that mountain. Like, I believe a person who grinds should beat the people who don't, right? Case in point, we're just going to throw a Dragon Ball Z reference out there. If you actually look at the characters of Vegeta and Goku, Vegeta should be 40 times what Goku is, because he does nothing but put time and effort into his craft. Right? He should be the most dominant character, but because of plot armor, he's not. So I can't sit here and say, if you play all the time, you shouldn't be a better player. But I do think if you want to keep life into a game, you have to find a way to bridge that gap. And I think fighting games, there's no way to bridge that gap. In a shooter, you can give them aim assist. You know what I mean? You can give them a different gun that, you know, might be better for them. In fighters, it's either you're good or you ain't. Oh yeah, Gohan did real dirty. Gohan got done real dirty. Could you imagine, Nick, if they patched MVC2? The game would have died.
This game sucks, bro. What are you talking about? Can't patch that game.
That game would have died after the first patch. They would have fixed Air Hyper Viper Beam. They would have fixed guard breaks. They would have changed infinites. They would have literally made the game unplayable.
Did they try to do that with the PS2 version or whatever? Nobody played it.
Yeah, the PS2 version's awful because they fixed some of the stuff that was fun. I don't think the PS2 version was so much fixes. I think it wasn't an arcade port.
And the PS3 one isn't either. Wasn't that based on the PS2 version?
Yeah, the input lag on the PS2 version is bad. If you start dashing and somebody does an Air Hyper Viper Beam, you can't block it. It's so bad. You got 4 meters with cable and they start dashing, their whole team's dead. And the age-old question begins. What's the age-old question, Omega? Balance for esports and pros and make it fun for casuals. I don't think fighting games should have ever gone esports. I think esports was good for the top 1% of fighters in the community, but there's so few people in the fighting game community who are eating without having a full-time job. If they're eating in the fighting game community, it's because of Twitch or YouTube. It's not because of the fighting game community. It's not because of the esport.
That's kind of true.
Yeah, they make their money off of streaming. They don't make their money off the tours. They don't make their money off the tournaments. They make their money off of streaming. It's not the same. They're content creators, which is fine.
I mean,
that's what I would.
Even for Evo, winning like a Street Fighter tournament, what was the highest they ever paid out? Was it 100K or something?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, so that's the biggest tournament in the world. Now you look at shit like League of Legends, where a whole squad wins like $1 million or something. Like, they're chump change compared to us.
Let me just break it down for you like this. In Fortnite, if you made it to the World Cup,
yeah, I forgot that guy, the one you told me about, top 8 or whatever.
you literally, I can't make this up. If you went to the World Cup in Fortnite, 100 players on the battlefield, if you jumped out the bus and went straight into the water to die, all 6 games, you left there with $50,000.
I was laughing so
Last place was $50,000.
It's crazy. Out of
I mean, literally, you could hit start at the spawn island and then just walk off and go home and collect $50,000.
I was laughing because dude, when you told me that, I'm thinking like a fighting game player. I'm like, oh, yo, top 8, like 8th place is $50,000. You're like, no, like out of the 100 players
100
on the island. Like, what'd you say? You're like, oh, if that was me. He's like, yo, you see where we are right now? Because we're at the bus, we're playing, and you're like, you see that lake over there? I'm going straight
in the lake.
GG's, give me more money. I'm going home.
I'm taking a bath and getting $50,000. Like, you don't have to try. You walk out there with $50,000.
Watched it too. I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I was like, I would hide in a bush or something, like people say not to do and crap. Yeah, I guess I wasn't the only one that planned, because why was it like almost the final circle had like 50 people left in it? Like,
dude, they do daily cash cups in Fortnite. Daily. For $1,000 for first place. Daily. Getting to the World Cup is tough. So here's the thing.
Yeah, just do it though.
Right. Well, but the thing is, getting to the World Cup was tough considering they only had a certain amount of qualifiers, right? So you did have to qualify. But think about how many people there were multi-time qualifiers, right? And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you don't try to go, you could say it's hard. If you could have done well, Neo, and potentially went there. That's why I stream Fortnite. Yeah, see, Neo, don't put yourself down like that. Don't put yourself down like that.
Yeah, bro. Look, I played Fortnite kind of hard starting at season 1 all the way up to like I think season 4 was the one where I was getting really pretty nasty and like I ground the hardest. I got kind of super casual for the next couple seasons, and then I took like a break for like 2 seasons or whatever. But out of all the people I've played against, out of all the people I've played with, as far as personal people, like, I'm not counting like some of these ridiculous streamers that are already established or whatever. I don't see why you're putting yourself down like that, because I have never seen anybody that I have encountered personally play as like ridiculous as you do. So don't sit there and think you're a scrub or something, because you're not.
Yeah, like
You could probably beat a lot of those people and qualify, and the only place you can go is up. Like,
that's what I mean.
you can
It's
only get
it's
better.
facts. And the thing is too,
I
like
saw what you did to that top. You killed the whole squad. Like, dude, I've seen you play. I'm
And
not
the
even
thing is,
kidding. Like, I
too-
was like, I've gotten. That's dog. You got this, man. Just do not like down yourself like that. Trust me, the talent's there. I can see it. You just got to do something with it if you want to.
Mhm. We'll do like zone wars or like, creative like 1v1s. And like 90% of the time he walks out the victor. If he doesn't, the other person does, which is Roman. But Roman is like a full-on sweat, like cone edits to ramps, and it's just stupid. Neo plays smart. You don't have to do all that stuff to be good. He just has good game sense. So I think he could. As far as Valorant starting to get more views, here's the thing with Valorant. They're going to shoot themselves in the foot. I think the game had potential.
Pretty trash.
The game had potential. It got hyped up. The hype was there, then it died, and it's starting to level out now. They lost their views, and it's starting to level out. The game is not going to go anywhere simply because the cheaters that are in that game, the microtransactions. There's nothing micro about a $3 or $75 for a color. That's not micro.
What?
That's not micro, dude. The gun. The dragon skin for the gun is like, Omega says it's $300. I think it's like 100 and something though, ain't it? Or is it really $300? It's a dumb amount. Oh, here it goes. $95 for the dragon skin. $95.
I mean, does it come with anything, or is it just the skin itself?
For the whole freaking pack. I don't care if it's for the whole game. I ain't paying $95.
I'm just saying. I was like, I mean,
I was talking to Neo because he's like, it's the whole pack.
that's wild.
The whole pack. The whole pack. Dude, it better give it to my whole team. I better have a skin on another game for $95. I better get a free game too. You gotta be kidding me. You buy that skin and it says, wow, you just unlocked Shenron. What's your wish?
$95, dude. Nah.
I think, yeah, but I think the fighting game community has to not complain so much, because the companies that are making these games are fighting hard to even get funded because these games don't sell. And that's just the reality of it.
Which is kind of why I'm glad that, I mean, aside from being a Tekken player, that I'm glad that this particular Tekken took off so well every time and like all the seasons, because now they at least have more of an argument to make a Tekken 8, or whatever, and go from there. Because it used to be like, especially around the transition between 5 and 6, man, that was pretty rough. Because it was basically dead on arrival for US.
Yeah. That's true, Nick. Like, people, they want nerfs before they even learn how to play the game. They want balances beforehand. And the games nowadays, like, I don't know. It's like they want to take the advice of the top players, but then they want to also cater to the casual. And they just don't know how to balance, man. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was good by a mistake. Super Turbo was good by mistake. Mortal Kombat 2 was good by mistake. When they made these games, they didn't have balance in mind. They literally just made the characters, and they didn't want to make them too OP. That's it. Everybody had one or two moves, and what you had is what you had. They all had the same basic attacks. Go from there. So, I don't know. JoJo. I feel like there was a lot of good fighting games that never had a shot because they started out on console, or by the time they came here, they were on console. But I couldn't imagine Marvel 2 having updates other than, like, MVC 3 had an update and it ended up making the game better. So I can't say they would have made the game worse, but I know they would have took out what made the game fun. Are you still worried about Valorant? Are you there? Are you there, Vegeta?
Yeah.
Okay. The thing with Valorant is it shouldn't charge that much for skins. It just shouldn't. You don't even get to see your skin. It's a first-person shooter.
That's wild, man. At least with Apex, you can still look at you can check
Well-
your own skin out, hitting a button.
Well, the thing is that with Apex, right, their skins are more. How do you put more aesthetically pleasing?
Right.
Valorant's just basic. But my thing with Valorant is the cheating. Okay, I'm not paying $95 for a weapon skin, Neo. I don't care if it's 45 skins. You don't pay $20 for a weapon skin in Fortnite. Wraps in Fortnite are $5. Period. There's no mythic wraps in Fortnite. So there's no reason why Valorant should be $20 for a weapon skin.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah, gold
accounting for
skins.
aesthetic
They're
yet.
not skins if they're weapons. That's like buying 5 gold wraps, which don't exist. So Fortnite's not more expensive. CSGO is ridiculous too.
Yeah, but they've been around so long that it's kind of like, well, so established that people will just spend that much money for something because they half their stuff now is based on skins, which is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
I mean,
Like, I didn't even know that was a thing until like a couple years ago. I was looking online. I'm like, why are people getting so salty about skins?
I
And
think
all that stuff?
I
It's
think
like, it's
Counter
almost
Strike's
like its
free, but
own
it has
currency.
microtransactions.
Yeah, like skins are literally like almost like their own currency now. Change, dude. And the funny thing is, the Counter Strike, when I was playing it, we could just mod our stuff to look like something else.
I know, right?
But I guess
I would never play. I would never tell anyone to play CS:GO now. If you're talking about skill-based matchmaking, you dead in CS:GO. You pick up CS:GO, it's over. You will hit round 1 start insta death. That's craziness. But Valorant I won't never play Valorant because of the stupid anti-cheat system that they make you put on your system that apparently doesn't matter because people still cheat. So it's sad that Fortnite has less cheaters than Valorant and they don't have anything but the easy anti-cheat. Even though there is a big thing going on right now with cheaters in Fortnite, that's fine. I'll hold that L. I don't think Fortnite's the greatest game out there. I'm just using it as an example.
yeah, she's in Apex too, and people are worried when they go to a crossplay that we'll have to deal with all that shit.
Oh yeah, PC, absolutely.
I mean, they cheat on. There's ways they can cheat on PS4 and stuff too, but like the PC versions of how they cheat is like ridiculous. I've seen stuff,
That's true,
man.
Neo.
Like, dudes running around like a Flash and all that crap. It's crazy.
well, the funny thing was, I remember there was one cheater in Fortnite that was playing. This was in season 7, so it had ice. This dude was skating on ice with a minigun, headshotting everybody on the map, just sliding. And I'm like, how in the world do you expect to get away with that? You're playing the least accurate gun while sliding and literally headshotting everyone on the map. No, dude, you're done.
I don't know, man. They do some stuff in Apex we saw too, and I'm like, how is he an Apex spread? Like, how is he not banned yet? And he's purposely streaming the fact that he's cheating, and they're just like, I don't know, bro. It's
Warzone has a lot of
Yeah.
cheaters too. Warzone's
Oh,
like
I
filled with
do-
cheaters.
Especially at first that they banned like was it 10,000 people?
Yeah, and at the
Also,
time
that
they only
one
had
guy, he
20,000 playing.
There was that one guy that was cheating. He had like 40 kills, and I was laughing because he got into a gun turret, and I guess his cheats didn't work when he was in the turret. He had to get back out of the turret to win. I'm like, what? So backwards, man. It's wild. Things people do to win.
That's hilarious, Neo. Yeah, Warzone cheaters are out of hand. And when they came out with that statement like 2 weeks ago where they're like, if you do it, we're going to slap your hand, so don't do it. It's like, wow, okay, guys. That's okay, guys. Fortnite does a good job with the cheaters. Just right now, there's a way to use like almost like an aim assist, and it's undetectable. I think there's wall hacks that are also undetectable, but aside from there's a macro too that allows you to retake height. So at high levels, I can understand why that's a problem. Yeah, they don't have any anti-cheat in Warzone. They just whatever. It really is a war zone. It's whoever has the best cheats.
They're just banning people.
I didn't know that, Nick. I remember at Final Round. Okay, real quick story about Marvel 2. At Final Round, the last Final Round that I played Marvel 2 in, Yipes was not had already been playing Marvel 2, but he was not playing Marvel 2 back when I was playing Marvel 2, which is just, it's weird to say that because when you think Yipes, you think he's been playing since day one, but he wasn't. I lost to a guy at Final Round in the first set, and Yipes, I'd never talked to him before, but he leaned over and looked at me and he goes, "You're way better than this guy. Just shake off the rust or nerves." I can't remember if he said rust or nerves. So I just sat back and like took a deep breath and I was like, okay. And then I absolutely tased that guy. I rinsed him. But it was just funny because I'd never talked to Yipes before, but that's the type of guy he is. So don't have any issues with Yipes. He's awesome.
He's funny, man.
K-Brad's cool too. I don't have any issues with K-Brad. He was actually down at top of the food chain one of the last times we had it, and I chilled and talked with him for a bit. Yeah, K-Brad's pretty funny. K-Brad, the only thing with K-Brad is he always sounds like he needs to blow his nose. So like it gets hard to talk to him after a while. Because I'm like, dude, just blow your nose. We can finish this conversation. Just blow your nose. Like, I can't say too much because my nose constantly whistles and I'm going to point it out now so you guys will hear it every time I breathe in on chat if you haven't already. But like, it like always has like a little whistle to it because I have a deviated septum.
My brother had that, and he got that surgery or fixed. He got it fixed a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that as well. I was
He's
showing my
got
nephew
trouble
about the
breathing.
K-Brad with that other guy. I forgot his name. Oh, Wolf Crone. I honestly have never had a conversation with Wolf Crone, so I don't know anything about him. My Vector is like playing with... I have a little Vector robot that's kind of like an Alexa. He's actually really awesome, but sometimes he goes and off and just plays with stuff and just makes weird noises. He's cool though. Like you can actually just sit there and chat with him. Like he talks back with you. He'll answer questions. If you ask him if he knows like Wall-E and the Terminator, he'll give you like some weird responses. The FGC beef to me always seemed like a facade, like it was fake to build hype. But
And depending on
apparently,
the kind of beef.
I would say, yeah, apparently some people, though, took it a little bit far. Like, the Gen Master hate wasn't a facade, but it also had nothing to do with the game. So, like, anytime you have a problem with someone when they're, like, take it out on the game, that always was, like, bothered me. Because if someone's attacking me personally, I'm going to attack them back. I'm not going to go beat them in the game and go say, shut up. Omega, that's 100% facts. But that's why I said I'm tired of people following toxic players. And then when they get found out to be toxic, tell them to go away for a while and then wait for their redemption arc. Just go follow somebody that's actually positive, wholesome. Exactly, Neo. Toxic. Start beef with him. I don't know. Jay Wong. Say his booty stinks or something. I can't start beef with Jay Wong though. Like, I know him. So it's hard to start beef with him because I know him. That would be like me. That would be no different than me talking trash to Neo or Vegeta. Yeah, and every time I've ever sat down and played with Justin, I've always been cool with him. Even though he doesn't remember me on streams, that's okay. That's okay, Justin. I forgive you. But you'll remember when you take that L. It's funny though, because I'll say stuff in chat, like in Justin's chat, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I used to play at such this." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm talking about against me, Jack A." Oh yeah, I remember game time. Yeah, jackass. Oh Lord, the kids are the kids are still awake. I should have put them in bed like an hour ago, and they're still awake. And now Dizzy's yelling at them, which means Dizzy's been woken up out of her sleep. It's about to go down, chat. Somebody about to get whooped. Should I step in, chat, or should I see how this plays out?
I ain't in it.
So, should I step in? Do y'all want to hear Daddy Cyber? I'll leave the mic on. Piper's usually asleep, but I've been letting her stay up because her cousin's over here, and I'm doing the live stream. So I was like, oh, she could stay up. But apparently now she's being too loud. See, I have this on. Usually I always have one earpiece off so I can hear what's going on. Oh, the text message. I just got the text message, chat. Oh, it's time to put the kids to bed.
Time to go.
It's time to go. Hang on. I'll be right back. Hang on, chat. I'm back. Problem is solved. Kids are in bed. Happy feet, Wumbo combo. What are y'all talking about? Did it again? Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta do it, chat. Sometimes you gotta let them know. And then promise them $10 in Robux if they go to sleep right now. I'm just kidding. A little bit. Not really. Anyhow. So yeah, chat. So the next time we do this podcast, the next guest is either going to be Gamer or Neo Xian Wu. But Nick has shown interest in wanting to be on here, so I'd love to have Nick up here talking about MVC2, DDR days, and some other stuff like that from the arcade days. I'm really looking for people from the arcade era, just because you're not going to hear those stories anymore. You know what I mean? Like, those stories are pretty much done. There's no more arcades. I think they said that the biggest Sega one is shutting down now. Did you hear about that, Vegeta?
Yeah.
So they're
which is why I'm wondering when Tekken 8 comes out if it's going to be the first one that goes right to console.
straight to console. That would be interesting.
I mean,
yeah.
what arcades are they going to put them in?
Yeah. Yeah. So the arcade era is essentially dead, and it's been dead here for a while, but I do want to have it live on. I haven't thought of a name for it yet. What should we call it, chat? What should I call it on YouTube? I'm not sure, Nick. I honestly don't know. I have to come up with a name for this series
I
so I
think
can.
Green Arcade closed too.
Dang.
That was one of the first big ones. We're like, what? That was like a year ago or something like that.
For the longest time, that's what I wanted to do with my like career was open up an arcade, but I knew I would need a front to make it work. And I just never pulled the trigger on it because I really didn't want to run a separate business just to get the one that I want to work. But it was going to be integrated with Twitch. I was trying to
there's gonna be, if nobody makes any more arcade games, I mean, it's kind of redundant unless you do and get old school stuff somewhere. That's
Memories with FNG is not too bad, but not everybody's from FNG, so call it memories with I don't know, the arcade art. We'll call it Button Check. The Arcade Archives. That's not bad.
Yeah, okay, you want to abbreviate it as AA, bro? They're making the wrong idea.
Memoirs of Arcadia. I know Button Check is taken. That's I was being sarcastic. I actually watch Button Check. Button Check's okay. I think that it's fine. I think Button Check's okay. I don't know Ernesto Lopez, but he seems the funny dude. X-Play. Or Game Pro. Oh my god. I can call it X Game Pro Play.
I don't realize how much I actually say that now when I do stupid stuff to people in games. We're all friends here at Funny Games.
We're all friends here.
God, that was the most insulting crap ever, though. You need to get friendship to even get that said to you, man.
I mean, I had to put it on quite a few people in Mortal Kombat that didn't believe. Like, even like the top at the time, one of the top. There's still in UMK3. There's EWA Shock and Lex, and they were supposed to be like the top of the line players, and they are. I'm not saying they're not, but they were supposed to be like the creme de la creme. If anybody said anything about Mortal Kombat, you had to say that they were in that conversation. And I flew to California, and Lex refused to play me at E3. Yep. He's like, I'm out of practice. Like, I don't. So am I. Whatever. He was on the phone with another guy. It was very weird. It was very weird how it like it was Mortal Kombat was there and we were talking and he was like, oh, you know, if you think you're so good, you can't beat Lex. And I'm like, okay, is Lex here? He's like, no, but I can call him. And he like called him. Which I guess it's not really that weird if it's a Mortal Kombat game in the fighting game community. There's not like a ton of people. But he called him up and we were like talking trash to each other for a hot minute. And then he was like, you know, I'm not coming up there. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Don't then.
I was like, you knew he was gonna get beat, or was afraid that you actually might.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I didn't even say anything. Did you watch SmackDown? I have FTC. I have not watched any wrestling since the COVID thing started. I have actually been way out of the loop with. I know that like Rey Mysterio, like they like made him think he lost an eye. It's very weird. Like Rey Mysterio put his head on the stairs and then like started to vomit because apparently Rey Mysterio lost his eye. Wrestling. I haven't kept up with it though. Exactly, Nick. And I for Halloween I went as Sting. I keep up with current wrestling. I don't get to watch it as much. I used to watch it and I actually wanted to do like reviews of it. I was Sting for Halloween too. Let's go. I was Crow Sting. Back when I had long hair. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. We did a prediction with JB on his channel. Yeah, see, I had the shoulder length hair, and I wasn't wearing glasses, and I dressed up as Sting. Went to the mall because that was my place. I also dressed up as Spider-Man for Halloween and went to the mall. We're not going to talk about that. Yeah, we're going to pretend that I didn't do that, but I did do that, and it was very embarrassing. Yeah, I try to keep up with it. I know like Sasha Banks has had the title now for like 300 days or something like that. I don't know. I've tried to keep up. I wish I knew way more to be able to conversate with you about it because I do love talking wrestling. But like with Marty Jannetty coming out saying he killed somebody, that's crazy. Yeah, and Kyrie quit. Yep. Yep. Kyrie Singh. Well, chat, I guess I should probably crash, man.
Yep.
It's about 1:30 and I just put the kids to bed, which means when they get up, I should probably get up too. So, but thanks for coming on, Marvin. We'll get up and play some games here in the near future.
All
All right, man.
right.
Later. Chat. Growly. I know, Nick, and I'm going to get up with you, and so we'll try to do it. I don't know what your hours are like, but I do want to get up and do this with you. Like I said, I want to do this. I want to make this regular and then throw them up on YouTube. So, oh, you work from home? Sweet. All right, we'll definitely get up. I saw that you sent me your friend, your information. So I'll send you a Discord invite. Growly says, I just woke up. You just woke up. Isn't it like what time is it for you there? Wait, what? What? Chat, do you hear that? What? It was Maximilian's intro to a video, but I'm not playing anything. It's 1:25 p.m. and you just woke up? That was quite random. What? That was weird. All right. So there's that. Yeah, this music's on purpose. I don't know where the other music came from. It's like, I didn't hear it, guys. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this as a different stream. This is a different style of stream. Usually we're gaming and chatting with the family. This time I wanted to sit and chill and just chat with you guys and somebody else. I'm going to try and make this a consistent thing to do once a week. You can't hear it? Well, I mean, I guess that's a good thing. I mean, I can make it to where you can hear it. But I'm glad you guys stuck around with me. Saw some familiar faces that I haven't seen in a while. Nick just hit affiliate over on Twitch, so if you guys want to, you can give him a follow. He normally does Street Fighter V content now, but he also speed runs a Mega Man game every once in a while. So if that's the type of content you're into, give him a follow. To everyone else, tomorrow we'll be back to the normal stuff. It'll probably be Fall Guys if the freaking servers will work properly. So like to play some Fall Guys. If not, we will be playing some Fortnite and some Roblox, the usual. I know Neo would like me to play Gunfire Reborn, but tomorrow during the day, that's probably not going to happen simply because everyone will be awake and they're going to want to play something else. But I think I will be playing Fallout Guys. Is that what Archon does? Omega, get Fall Guys. Let's all get it and let's all play. I think it'll be fun. What do you guys think? Yeah, try and pick it up, guys. We'll try and play that tomorrow. Rogue Company. I'll look into that too. We're going to do some stuff. We got some things happening here. Also, to anybody in chat, Neo Phoenix streams as well, so give him a follow. In the meantime, guys, what do we say here? Stay defaulty. Stay optimized. So why did this not work? Did it not work? Wow, it's not working. Come on, Stream Deck. Stupid Stream Deck. Stay defaulty, chat. Peace.